game is it's fantastic, and on top of it, have mega fun in the car on this gnarly track.
Well, yeah, you.
And the one I have, so I'm lucky. I think everything runs very smooth. So I got in, and I was immediately feeling. 4 gears. You only use 2 or 3 most of the time, so it's quite a gentle 2 or 3 most of the time. So it's quite a gentle, nice car. It's very smooth. You drift around, so it's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to have more time in the car and the race.
It's going to put a big smile on your face, isn't it? Good luck in the race. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cobra's renowned for being smooth and gentle. I thought brutal was the word. However, I'll take it at Andre. By the way, if you like your social media, Andre Lotto's Instagram account here, that's a proper fashion show. Tom Coronel down there on the grid with David Hart. And Coronel tipped son Olivier for victory in the Alfa Romeo in the St Mary's Trophy. He was not wrong. I wouldn't mind betting that he's going for an accumulator on that #1 Cobra as well. Car #1 on pole position. 94, another AC Cobra. That's Michael Gans and Gordon Shedden who will take over. And of course, Tom Coronel races Gordon Shedden in the World Touring Car Cup. Andy Priaulx, you can see behind on the grid chatting at the moment. Now, he has just ended up with Steve Soper winning on aggregate the St Mary's Trophy for touring cars. John Minshaw shares with Phil Keane in the British GT Championship in a host of cars here as well. It's Minshaw who starts the 33 Jag, the light grey car, on the outside of the front row of the grid. 3 and 2, 3 and 2 are how the grids are lined up traditionally here at Goodwood, and we do like our traditions here at Goodwood. On row 2 of the grid, more Cobras in the red and gold of Alan Mann Racing, car number 11, and that is the Ollie Bryant and Andrew Smith car. And alongside them, 47, Bill Shepherd in the Aston Martin green, the pale green Cobra, but it's Romain Dumas, the multiple Le Mans winner, who starts that car.
You can see an arm waving there. That is back on the 7th row of the grid. Darren Turner's got a problem with the Cobra. He's waving. Obviously, the car has stalled, and that's a big shame. He was having an eye on seeing if he can get another trophy to take back home here from the revival, but it seems that that yellow flag there, it's only the warming up lap we're about to do, but if they get that car started, it'll have the chance to start from the back of the grid.
Goodwood Revival 2018, the Royal Automobile Club Tourist Trophy celebration race will get underway in just a few minutes. Darren Turner's Cobra, stranded on the grid, was due to start in 16th in his field of 30 entries. If they get a push start, and if it starts, then he will have to start at the tail of the field, or he will be handed a 10-second penalty. So let's hope that 17 does at least start, because in 45 minutes an awful lot can happen. David Hart leads the field in the #1 Cobra from the number 94 Cobra, and off goes Dazzle. So he shares car number 17 with Rory Henderson.
Yeah, it's a wonderful sight as the cars come down through Ford water on this formation lap. The tyres. Just to put it in perspective, David Hart on pole position, winner of the race in 2014 with Guido van der Garde.
Yeah, an all-Dutch combination. Now Guido in the other duties, and it's David Hart with son Olivier, the teenage sensation of the St Mary's Trophy in the AC Cobra. They start on pole from a similar car. Michael Gans and Gordon Shedden. The Keenan Minshaw semi-lightweight E is on the outside of row 1. Cobra dominated row 2. The Bryant and Smith ex-Alan Mann racing car ahead of the Romain Dumas Bill Shepherd 47. Then LeBlanc Stretton in a Cobra, the E-type of Hunt and Priaulx, Jordan and Whittaker in the grey TVR Griffith, Andre Lotter's car, the silver Cobra 151, head of cut 7, started by Rob Huff, car number 18. Soper and Young in their E-type, Minasian and Reed in the number 3 Cobra, Fox, Rusinol and Padmore on row 5 of the grid. Then a couple of rows back, Henderson and Turner will start at the back. Look out too for the very wayward number 7, the Sunbeam Tiger. Nigel Greensell will take over that. Steve Blomqvist starts car number 6, one of the Stingrays. There's no number 27, the Friedrichs and Hadfield car doesn't make the grid, nor does the Brooks and O'Connell number 10 machine. That was due to be Steve Boltby Brooks ESO. That was crashed heavily in qualifying. And at the back of the grid, behind the Porsches and the Bell and Morley Stingray, Derek Bell starting the number 80 car will be car car number 17, started by Darren Turner.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? On that back row of the grid, officially, we've got 1970 Le Mans winner Richard Atwood and 5-time Le Mans winner Derek Bell in 5 and 8 respectively. But David Hart on pole, 2014 winner. Gordon Shedden, 2015 and 16 winners, and lead time 2017 winner Michael Gans, with whom he shares there in that Cobra. Of course, Emanuele Pirro won in 2001 and 05 with Gregor Fiskin and Dario Franchitti. And the 2013 winning Aston, as you say, out with a broken sump.
Yeah, real shame. So you've got Richard Atwood, Le Mans winner, Derek Bell, Le Mans winner on the back row of the grid, and behind them, Darren Turner, Le Mans winner. Lots and lots of Le Mans winners in the field. We've got Andre Lotterer and Romain Dumas a little further forward. Dumas starting on row 2 in that car, number 47, the pale green car. Dumas really an old-fashioned racing driver with the will to drive anything, anywhere.
What a perfect view here on an early autumnal afternoon. Little bit of heat haze, lovely warm sunshine. This is going to be a race, Martin.
Darren Turner at the back, David Hart at the front.
This is going to be a race, Martin.
Darren Turner at the back, David Hart at the front. Out at St Mary's, Marcus Pye. In the commentary box, Toby Moody and me, Martin Haven. 45 minutes to decide one of the blue ribbon events here at the Goodwood Revival 2018. Car number 1 on pole position, 94 the middle of the front row, Cobra, and the E-Type out on the far side. 5 seconds to go, the Union flag will be waved and dropped, and away we go. Great start from the middle of the front row by Michael Gans. David Hart didn't want to be caught for jumping the start, he was a little hesitant. He gets away strongly though. It's Cobra, 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 Cobra. 1, 2, 3, 4, the E-Type and John Minshaw being cautious into the first corner, and rightly so. Off has gone the green car, Romain Dumas. Well, he's a rally driver as well as a race driver. He gathers it all up and comes back on, and he'll be battling with fellow Le Mans winner Derek Bell, and 17 right alongside Romain Dumas. That's Darren Turner, who made a very good start, and he's alongside the Hairy Canary, but it's David Hart who leads out into the country towards Marcus Pye.
And they are hurtling towards me with these Cobras. It's David Hart from Michael Gans. In 3rd place is Martin Stretton in 63. 4th is the Bryant car, number 11. Then you've got the Jags, 18 and 33. 151 follows through the Cobras. Looking for the Dumas car, that's way down the order among 3 others, and ahead of the trio, a beautiful Porsche Carrera 904 GTSs on board with Michael Gans.
Stretton made a fabulous start. He started from 6th position. He's up to 3rd as we ride on board with Gans in 2nd place. 4 Cobras. The leading Jaguar illuminates its lights as it comes down into Woodcote for the first time.
Yeah, that's John Minshaw right ahead of Cut 7, the grey E-Type with the blue nose, and that is Rob Huff, the 2012 World Touring Car Champion, and David Hart leading the race. He's under pressure from Michael Gans and Martin Stretton, who can turn his hand to anything. Another Cobra up into 4th, the Alaman racing car. And so it's been a very successful start. That's car number 11, the Ollie Bryan and Andrew Smith car. Challenge for 2nd place. 94, Michael Gans with the inside line around the outside. Very brave from Martin Stretton. Couldn't carry the speed, doesn't get through. 1, 2, 3, Black Cobra, Black Cobra, Black Cobra. Then the red and gold Cobra in 4th position. And the E-Type shuffle back down the order.
Not only lifting the inside front wheel through Matchwick corner, it's as if they're bouncing and almost lifting the rear. That's the illusion that we get from that rearward facing camera as they hammer down to the first part of St Mary's.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? And it's David Hart in that number 1 car who lifts both inside wheels over the curve. Incredible. Andrew Smith in the number 11. He will hand that car to Ollie Bryan, who is so desperate to win in this race, having come so close for many, many years. The big Tiger, developed by Lister, is in the middle of that, the car of Squire, number 7, and still chasing on all the way down the order. These beautiful Porsches, 71, and a slight nick with the barrier of the day, but lead us back on the hangar straight, guys.
Yeah, and a battle between the number 11 Cobra and 33 John Minshaw in the Jag for 4th position. Minshaw's had a really good lap and he's trying to go the long way around the outside. It's Woodcote, and he does go the very long way around the outside on the grass, on the runoff area, gathers it all up. So Andrew Smith in number 11 in contact with the chicane. That was 63. Martin Stretton clipped it on the way in, and that may get him a 5-second penalty. Now more styrofoam flying in the air, and they are now trying to funnel in. There is the Sunday Tiger Le Mans Coupe, and coming up from behind the pale green Cobra of Romain Dumas, 86 there. The TVR Griffith, Mike Jordan will take over that car, but it's Whittaker who starts it.
Minshaw's got to do all the hard work again to see if he can get back towards that 4th position. And here we have a replay of him from another angle. He did get up ahead, but he was running out of road. He was hitting the grass. Fortunately, the tarmac runoff there saved him for another lap. But the polystyrene has been obviously dislodged. Never mind it smashing into a million pieces. That's what it's there for as we come back live. There is Stretton still in 3rd, still leading is Ollie Hart.
That's right, the leaders much closer together this time. Those top 3, the 3 dark-coloured Cobras, battling with the red and gold high-efficiency motors car behind that car of Andrew Robertson-Smith.
On board again with Michael Gans. See a little puff of smoke as David Hart has a little lock-up just before the Super Shell building, turning into the long double apex right-hander at Woodcote. And Hart defending the inside line, gets in nice and tight up to the wall, because it's not how much you carry in, Toby, it's how much you carry out onto the straight that's going to win or lose.
David Hart, apologies Oliver, David Hart leads this race as he comes over the line. The gap is a 0.36 of a second gap, but the fastest man on the course at the moment, to the tune of some 0.3 of a second, is Michael Gans in 2nd place. He is honing in on 1st position.
E-Type battle behind, John Young in the red, E-Type with the black roof, chasing down the Pearson Piro car number 14. That's the white car with the blue Shelby-style stripes up it. And this is the battle for 9th position. This is 9th and 10th, as close as you like. Lightweights, E-Types battling around the sweeps of the Goodwood Motor Circuit.
I sense that number 4, Andrew Smith, and Minshaw in 33 are getting closer to the 3 leaders as their battle intensifies.
Yeah, the leader, 1 minute 27.8 last time round, but only one car was slower than him. That was Martin Stretton in 3rd, 4th and 5th and 2nd place, all closing a fraction on David Hart. This is a massive battle behind Minshaw and Huff in the E-Types. You've got the black and white, Anthony Reid, Nick Manassi on Cobra there. Then the silver car, the Twyman and Lotterer car, 151, and then a big gaggle. Pearson Piro's number 14, Young and Soper number 50, Whittaker and Jordan. Oh, and again, off goes John Minshaw. Very wide out there that time. He's lost touch with the lead Cobras, and he is coming back to Rob Huff, but he drove away from Huff on lap 2, and he should be able to do so again.
The TVR is also snapping at the heels a little bit further back on the outside of the top 10. There you have Mighty Mouse with the mirror. There is Oliver Hart. There is the Dutch contingent all looking as his father goes grass tracking just for a moment by a couple of inches on the outside of the exit of Madgwick Corner. Already they dislodge those poplar leaves that have started to furl in the early autumn here in the UK. Wherever you're watching around the world, well, it's a sunny day always at Goodwood. This is a cracking race. Martin, they're getting closer.
This is absolutely brilliant. The 11 cars virtually bridged the gap. There's going to be 4 Cobras in that snake pack up front. Absolutely sensational. Minshaw holding 5th in the 33, the Grey Jag, newly built, debuted at Alton Park recently. And then Rob Huff in Richard Mines' Cut 7 car.
Big mistake by David Hart, got a wheel onto the dirt as he came out of Lavant Corner, and that opens up the opportunities down the Lavant straight for 94 Michael Gans and 63 Martin Stretton. The 2 dark cars behind the gunmetal Cobra can't take advantage, but Marcus, your eyes did not deceive you. Andy Smith and Bryant Cobra, fastest lap last time round, and there's going to be a penalty for David Hart, and that's for contact with the chicane. 5-second penalty for car number 1. Didn't think it was him that hit it. Well, he has now been dropped to 5th position, so he leads on the road. So Olivier Hart is going to have to undo that. I thought it was Martin Stretton that hit the chicane. We may need to go back to the truck and take a look at that again. I'm sure the team will appeal, but my remembrance of it was there was Martin Stretton that clubbed the chicane, unless he just hit debris that David Hart had hit already. So we'll go with that. Hart showing it's so tight. A 5-second penalty drops him to 6th on the road, actually between the 2 Jags.
I thought Hart was going to lose that lead on the road when we came through down towards Woodcote last time out. He was really having to hug a defensive line into the double apex right-hander because he knew that he had a lot of work to do. By the time he got it too much sideways here, Marcus.
Popped over the curbs down here, and you can see tricycling through Lavant. Andrew Smith in the 11 car, GP4C, the old Roy Salvadori Roger Mack car, and it's pushing really hard now, Andrew Smith.
So, as the ex-Alan Mann Racing colours, in my view, is getting closer and closer. Yes, it is. There you have your leading quartet, but the leader just edging away. But so, with a 5-second penalty, he's got even more work to do. Yeah, will he know it, though, Martin?
Well, he won't know it, but his son, Olivier, will. Now, in qualifying, car number 1 was half a second quicker than every other car, so they don't have to necessarily do it all here. Olivier, if he gets out anywhere near the front, might be able to build that gap, but they're going to have to stop early.
The marshals on the pit wall have given number 1 a plus 5-second penalty. Will he be able to have seen that? Well, when he rattled past our commentary position at well over 100 miles an hour. These guys are doing 143 miles an hour down the back section.
152 for the Davis Plato Corvette, Davey.
Wonderful. Wow. Brilliant.
These are absolutely brutal machines. I don't care how nice and comfortable Andre Lodger says they are. He's used to diesel them on out. It's and on the grass, 63. That's a big mistake. Martin Stretton just gets away with it, but Andrew Smith, now the faster lap than his, has gone to 47. Romain Dumas in the light metallic green, the Aston Martin green, if you like, Cobra. Dumas, after his grass tracking incident, has just gone by Pearson and Folks. There's Gordon Shedden, who shares the Gans 94 car, and a change for second. 63. Stretton has gone by. Half a lap ago looked like he was going to lose third to Andy Smith in the red and gold car. Now he's up to second, and he's left Michael Gans to hold off, and Rob Huff is right there. So John Minshaw has dropped back, and Huff is suddenly closing. Huff in 4th place. Not on the road, but as far as the timing goes, because the leader on the road, David Hart, although he's pulling away, is still only just a second clear of the battle for second, which is now 4 cars.
Stretton got relatively clear tarmac in front of him. He's only got the leader that he may not know is not the leader in front of him, because of course the Dutch car has got that plus 5-second penalty. Cut 7, Jinx one way, then the other. Can he put that long nose in front of the AC Cobra? The Cobra dances and skips over the top of the tarmac as it comes towards you, Marcus.
Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful to watch. We've got 3 now dicing for third. The first 2 have broken away, albeit with the number 1 car with that penalty, which currently drops it back into 6th place in reality. The 14 car of Dumas is gaining ground, a 1:26.203. Its best lap, the best of the race for Romain Dumas, was set back on lap 6. We're lap 8 now.
We're running aboard with Rob Huff, but just keep an eye, Martin, on Martin Stretton. He's made a massive gain as cut 7 goes through.
Well, Rob Huff now moves up ahead of Andy Smith. Don't forget, some of the drivers in these cars are the quote pros, some are the quote ams. So the performance of the cars relative to each other will change after they all do their driver stops, and we'll see the quicker drivers stay out longer, you assume. Now here comes Huff. He's got a run on Michael Gans. He's going to squeeze through inside the pit wall. Gans leads him an E-type plus mirrors plus about an inch, but it is enough, and Huff goes down the inside and cut 7, and through he goes, and that puts him into 2nd place. 3rd on the road, but 2nd with the time penalty for car number 1.
Yeah, the Dick Prothero car, cut 7, cut 8 along the way. In fact, the race were 3 separate cut 7s at different points, but down they come towards St Mary's, long kink, and then across through this adverse camber traverse of the left-hander at St Mary's into the compression, up out of the dip, straight across the road to the braking area, down the inside. Having a little look is 63, which is Martin Stretton. Still David Hart just holding on to the lead on the road.
Stretton is a 1.5 seconds quicker on the last circulation than the car in front of him. It's only a matter of time.
It is only a matter of time. Martin Stretton all over the back of David Hart right now, and of course with his time penalty, David Hart in 6th position, now fallen behind John Minshaw, still ahead of the young and Soper Cobra car number 50, but Stretton Well, looking the long way around the outside works as long as the car in front isn't doing the same speed as you, and the car in front is pretty much doing the same speed. Rob Huff closing in cut 7. He's left the 94 car, Michael Gans, to deal with Andrew Smith in number 11. So the car out front, car number 1, is not actually the leader. 63 is ahead of the first of the E-types, and then 94 and 11. That's the battle effectively for 3rd place at this stage of the race.
The pit window is not going to open for the leaders next time round, but it might open to someone who's 8th, 9th or 10th or something like that. They'll be that close. Here comes Andrew Smith down the inside of the 94 car. Has to back off, thinks better of it. First part of Ford Water. Long kick down round to the right.
Right, here's some mental arithmetic for you. Leading on the road, car number 1, David Hart, will get to the line before the 15 minutes is up. But if you add the 5 seconds, can he stop this lap, or does he have to do another one? And if he does, will he be leading on the road, or will it be 63 Martin Stretton?
Who's using a massive pendulum effect to get the car turned around the far end. Now he gets back onto the left-hand straight. There is Rob Huff. We're riding on board with him, building speed. There you see, well, it's not a straight, is it? Because you've got to thread your way down the ribbon of tarmac. You can't see the corner at Woodcote until you're right on top of it. You've got to drive straight towards the building, and then the corner unravels in front of you. Fantastic racing.
30 seconds, Toby, to the pit window.
So the leaders can't go in yet. Who's 30 seconds back? Well, Stig Blomqvist is in 16th place. Pat Blakeney-Edwards isn't in 15. So Blomqvist might be the first man who could go in. No, another 15 seconds. You've got to be 45 seconds back, and that's really also Rans. Now here's the battle behind. 94, Michael Gans.
Hart's back to 3rd.
Yeah, he has got back, has he, in front of Rob Huff? Well, that was out of our sight. We're watching the battle now for 4th position, but they are being dropped by the lead trio, and this all works for David Hart. He's still lapping very quickly.
John Minshaw on 33 is back with them as the pit window opens.
Yeah, John Minshaw now attacking Andrew Smith in the red and gold Cobra. 33, the all-pale grey Jaguar E-Type. And closing in behind him as well is John Young in 50. That's the red E-Type with the black roof. And the onboard shows us that Rob Huff is right with Martin Stretton. The 6-cylinder of the XK engine under the bonnet of the E-Type is pushing. And Huff comes off the corner quicker than Stretton. He's going to have a lunge for 2nd. These 2 cars will stay out. If I were David and Olivier Hart, the number 1 car would be pitting right at the end of this lap. Let's see if they take what I think is probably the only option for them. Contact. A bit of E-Type and a bit of damage on the front of the E. Now Rob Huff, yesterday, alongside another E-Type, clipped the bonnet and it popped open in the penultimate lap. Is David Hart in the pits? He is!
And that might damage the cooling on the Jag that's coming in as well.
Yeah, the Jag is in as well, so Rob Huff is going to hand over to Richard Mines.
This is brilliant for Stretton because this seems a very slow entry to try and find where he is in the pit lane. He has to re-accelerate as Huffy to get to his point, to change drivers, and he's got to crawl out of the... of that Cobra. Sheds gets in.
Gans out, Shedden in, and into is the Bell & Colville car, and that is car number 3. Anthony Reid and Nick Minassian. 33 is in. John Minshaw hands over to Phil Keane at the first possible opportunity. There's Anthony Reid waving his hands. Out comes 11. So out 11 in front. That's Ollie Bryant, and number 3 is blocking one of the cars. Is that the Jag?
Yeah, Bryant's out right with Olivier Hart.
Yeah, well, let's see if he can stay with him.
Now this is brilliant for Stretton in the number 63 because he hasn't stopped.
It's all over for the Jag. It's not moving.
Oh yeah, it's all over. But this is brilliant for Stretton, who is out of shot at the moment, because it just seems to be that everybody rushed into the pit lane early on. Remember, it's a 15-minute window, and if Stretton stays out and he's got his rhythm, then maybe he will just get enough quick lappery in to keep a lead of the race once the stagger unravels.
He may do, of course. He's a chunk quicker than Carsten LeBlanc, who's a very, very competent driver. But look at the others around him. They're all kind of pros, aren't they?
Well, John Young up to 2nd in the black, in the red E-Type with the black roof. Up to 3rd, Romain Dumas in the metallic light green Cobra. Up to 4th is 86. That's the grey TVR Griffith, the one that doesn't look like anything else in the race. And 5th position, a penalty for the number 9 car, Davies and Plater. Now, I haven't seen on the screen what the penalty is, and whether it's Craig Davies or Jason. Well, Craig Davies started that white Corvette number 9, so they've got a penalty, although that's now been removed from our screen because it now shows they're in the pit lane. Well, cut 7 is firmly dinged 7. And this is where it happened. Rob Huff closing fast on Martin Stretton, and the Cobra on the brakes wriggling, and Huff runs into the back end of it, and out the back of the Cobra are those levers that are used to jack it up in the air, and that's what's punched up the front of the E-Type.
I think even Martin got a little bit fooled by Hart, because Martin had to sling the anchor out. He got it sideways, so Huffy had almost nowhere to go. I think Stretton was just, I mean, he didn't touch Hart in front of him, but Stretton would have preferred to run it on a little bit longer.
What's happened to Hart and Hart, guys? Because they were out with Smith and Bryant as Ollie Bryant came out. Ollie Bryant showing as best of the stoppers. He's just come past me here at St Mary's.
Well, Ollie Hart has just done the fastest section in the first parts of this Goodwood circuit, 26.39, half a second quicker than Stretton.
Has disappeared somehow out of the timing system.
Well, it may still be that they may have a transponder problem, perhaps. Martin Stretton is the leader in car number 63, yet to stop. Second place is the Jaguar E-Type number 50, yet to stop. That's the red car with the black roof. And in 86 now is the into the pit lane. That's third Mike Whittaker and Mike Jordan's car.
And that is Oliver Hart ahead of him on the track, so there's been some problem with the timing, has there not?
Yeah. Again, it's still got an exclamation mark on the screen, as it has with the Davison Plato car, and that is normally used to indicate only a penalty, but the Hart car bounces up and down the timing screen, so they may have a transponder issue that they're having to manually correct. So yet to stop are the first 3 cars on the road, and also Steve Blomqvist, who is in 5th position in car number 6, the light metallic blue Corvette Stingray. But our leader on the road in the race yet to stop, Martin Stretton. He can go up to 30 minutes of the race, so 15 minutes remaining. Effectively, Toby, he could do another 5, 6, almost 6 quick laps before handing over to Carsten LeBlanc with hopefully a suitable lead.
Squeezing past the Porsche is Martin Stretton as he threads his way through the chicane. He's not going to stop this lap.
28 into the pit lane comes the car of Jean-Pierre Jarier to hand over to Greg Audi. Martin Stretton still leads, and he's going to have to make really good job of carving his way through traffic. Some of the cars will still be out. A lot of them will have just stopped, so Stretton has to be really aware now, Marcus, when he comes up to a car that the driver may just be getting his feel for the circuit. Fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 26.1 from Olivier Hart. And there is the car that was in second. John Young hands over to Steve Soper. Soper, who has just won overall in the St Mary's Trophy in a car that he built himself.
Steve telling me before the weekend got underway, easier to get in this thing than get out. That's why he's doing the second stint.
Well, easy to get other people in when you've got an E-Type, I always find, but that's possibly for another day. So John Young brought the car in from second place, and now up to second is the Smith and Bryant Cobra, which has stopped ahead of the Hearts. So there's your race leader. 14 has stopped, the E-Type, that's dropped down the order, and off glass the Cobra. So there's the Hairy Canary, the yellow car. Can you guess how it got its name? And Anthony Reid started car number 3. Nick Minassion goes past the Hairy Canary. So a change of positions for the Cobras. And Stretton into the pit lane, not this time. He carries on. And that can go until 15 minutes remain in the 45-minute race. So he's pretty much at the midway point. It's 45 minutes plus half of 45, 22 and a half, so we're almost at the midway point.
1 minute 26.0, the quickest lap of the race last time round by Oliver Hart, the youngster in the number 1. Similar looking car, but of course it's got the red band to the one that's leading here. We're looking at Martin Stretton. He has a lead.
Well, there's his teammate, Carsten LeBlanc, the Dutchman, so this is going to be a Dutch-on-Dutch battle, isn't it? With Carsten LeBlanc. There's Jean-Pierre Jarier in the background wearing some period overalls. Not from this period, you understand, but from when he was a Ligier driver.
Fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
Just brilliant.
Jumper Jarier, who'd have thought it? Martin Stretton leads the race. Carsten LeBlanc, yeah, you know, waiting. I'm surprised that he looked so calm. I'd have been jiggling from foot to foot. Ollie Bryant in second in the red and gold Cobra number 11. Third is still car number 1, going around the outside of number 7, and that's the Sunbeam Tiger Le Mans Coupe. Nigel Greensall now at the wheel of that car. It's got plenty of horsepower. It's got a very short wheelbase, quite narrow compared to even the Cobra, and it's a bit evil.
Martin Stretton got a 37-second lead over the Smith Bryant Cobra. Will he be able to come in, change drivers, get back up to speed, and hold that 37-second advantage? That is the question we are waiting to see. Another 6.5 minutes of the pit window being open.
It's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? Because
he's trying to get a road, Martin. He's trying to get a road. He just about held it together. He was turning left to go into the right-hander at Madgwick, held it all together. That was a moment, even for Stratton, and he's even more on the grass as he's on the way out. Keep it together.
I think he feels that the challenge for him is not the number 11 Cobra in second, but the fast-approaching number 1 Cobra in third. Olivier Hart is only 1 second behind Ollie Bryant. Last time round, Martin Stretton, before he started using the grass, did a 1 minute 26.8. Last time round, Hart, who now has moved up into second, did a 1 minute 25.5, 1.3 seconds quicker. So every lap that Martin Stretton stays out now, he's losing 1.3 seconds of that lead to Olivier Hart. He's got to hand over as much as he can to Carsten LeBlanc, but they're going to take time to change over in the Cobra.
Great racing here at Revival. Great racing. The Royal Automobile Club TT celebration race. Absolutely. Harry Flatters is coming down that back section. Is Martin Stretton, he locks up again. Don't see as many mistakes as that in a lap from Martin Stretton very often.
Don't see that many in a race, never mind in one lap. He's gone on the grass twice. He had a monster lock up the chicane coming in. Now, what sort of a car is he handing over to Carsten LeBlanc? The leader is in the pit lane.
Now, the advantage he's got coming to change drivers, Martin, is that there's no traffic. Look, he's got an easy way in and an easy way out, and that might find him 2 or 3 seconds, if only, on the stopping and then the restarting again.
And it's
where did the TVR's rear window go, by the way?
I don't know, haven't seen that. It's a left-hand drive car as well, which means you're not squeezed against the pit wall, so there's more room for the mechanics to get in and strap in.
94 going slowly. 94 is struggling, I'm afraid. That's the Gans and Shedden.
All right, well, the race is on for the lead. Carsten LeBlanc being pushed back because there's an E-Type in front of him. Off he goes, and through has gone the red and gold Cobra. Through has gone 33, the Stretton, the Minshaw and Keane car, but the cameras have not picked up that Olivier Hart is now our race leader again, and in 4th place is Carsten LeBlanc. There's car number 1. And behind him, you're looking for the red and gold Cobra. So your race leader again. Let's reset now. Pit window will close in 3 minutes, but there's only 1 or 2 cars to stop, one of which is Darren Turner, by the way. Car number 1. That's the gunmetal E-Type with the red stripe markers. He's with you, he's the leader.
And there are lots and lots of cars now between Olivier Hart and Oliver Bryant in number 11, the red and gold Cobra, on your screens. 63 now with LeBlanc in it, is being swallowed up. There's the, oh yes, the TVR has scraped down the left-hand side, and that rear window has gone wherever, I'm not sure.
No, he's made contact with somebody. 3rd place now, Morp, is the Minshaw and Keane 33 Jaguar with Phil Keane up. So John Minshaw handed over early to Phil Keane, who he reckons is one of the most underrated British drivers of the current era.
And he's 6.6 seconds behind Bryant.
Now remember, before the pit stops, we talked about the fact that car number 1 had a 5-second penalty. That was added immediately to his total race time, so they have already taken that into account, and on our timing screens and on the track, car number 1 is back in front. He does lead the race. Number 11 is second. 63 here is down to 5th place because he dropped behind 151, the Twyman and Lotterer car, and now Mike Jordan in 86 in most of a TVR Griffith 400. That's a TVR Griffith 350, really, isn't it? There's a bit missing, and Jordan goes through, so that's a change for 4th place. 5th place up goes Mike Whittaker started it, Mike Jordan driving it now. It's got a tyre mark on the left-hand door, and it's lost its rear windscreen.
So then, essentially a 10-second lead on the road for Ollie Hart, even though on the screens it's just under 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's right, and I reckon that the challenge of the Smith and Bryant car may be blunted by a slight misfire. which will play into the hands of Phil Keane, who lapped last time a couple of seconds quicker. Slaving off into the grass is the 14 Jag out here.
Well, that's had a bit of an enterprising time, hasn't
Piro.
it? Yeah, Manuel Piro. I think the boys will be having a word with him. So the Hearts lead, they're gorgeous. Smith and Bryant second, but with a misfire. You might be right, Marcus. They were 3 seconds off the pace last time round, 2 seconds off the pace of Phil Keane in the 33 Jag. So the gunmetal car, #1 with the red noseband, that is leading. 151 in fourth, Andre Lotterer.
Andre Lotterer doing 146 miles an hour on the way into Woodcote Corner. There he is.
Yeah, but they're easy cars to drive. He told us so himself.
I think your line was best, though, in qualifying, Martin. He's never had, in one of the races, never had the need to look in the mirror when he's been in an Audi or a Porsche LMP1 hybrid car, has he?
Yeah, no, not often, that's for sure. So Andre Lotterer, the car might be easy. The circuit, though, he reckons is gnarly, and I don't think he's wrong either. However, Lotterer in 151 is in fourth place. That's the lighter grey of the Cobras.
Talking of shades of grey, the 33 car of Phil Keane is definitely still gaining on Oliver Bryant.
Yeah, he's 4 seconds behind Ollie Bryant at the beginning of the lap, and he was quicker by half a second in the very first part of this lap.
That's corrected time you can see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. It says +5, but in reality, it's 10.6 seconds on the road.
And that Bryant Cobra has been second 3 times, third once, fourth once, and fifth once in this race, but is yet to win it.
Has Olivier Hart driven it before?
He's not won in this race before.
I think he might be making a difference.
Well, he was
right
the
now.
star man last year, if you remember, and then the car overheated.
Right now, here's the battle for second, coming down the pit straight. Red and gold Cobra, enjoy the Stingray in the middle, but ignore it in the battle because it's 33, the E-Type, the pale grey car of Phil Keane, who took over from John Minchell, that's doing the hunting. So Mongoose are very good against Cobras. It appears that Jaguars are pretty decent against them as well. So the semi-lightweight E, nothing semi about the way it's being driven though. Phil Keane about to gobble up the metallic blue Stingray.
And look up ahead, the red and gold Cobra passes me now, and Keane passes me now. That's about a couple of seconds.
Well, we're getting a mixture of noises, of course, on the camera mic, so we're not hearing clearly what the number 11 car sounds like, but if it sounds like it's fluffing to you, then you're a lot closer. It probably is fluffing, and Phil Keane, he can just see he's getting closer with every corner.
But Smith Bryant was doing 129 on the way down to you, Marcus, compared with the Jaguar, some 8 miles an hour slower, so it's still got lots of tramping on that it can do in a straight line.
Absolutely. Look for Steve Soper in 50. He's catching Gaston Leblanc in 63. The car that in Martin Stretton's hands held the race lead.
But before that, we got a battle for fourth. Andre Lotterer and Mike Jordan. Now, there's not a battle that you're going to see anywhere other than Goodwood. Jordan in the TVR, and in front of him, 151, the Cobra of Lotterer. And Jordan has pulled in, three-quarters of a second this lap alone on Andre Lotterer. He may not have quite the grunt of the Cobra, but the TVR built in Blackpool is doing a great job under the guidance of Mike Jordan, car number 86.
5 mile an hour quicker is the TVR in a straight line, Marcus.
Yeah, they've got the same amount of GGs under the bonnet, both the 4.7 litre Ford V8s. And here comes Mike Jordan with an orange crash helmet, closing in on the ex-David Purley, Derek Riddler, Lek refrigeration Cobra down towards me at St Mary's.
It won't help the fact that he's lost that rear screen. Remember, it's not necessarily how you enter the air, it's how you leave the air. So there'll be a lot of swirl, quite a bit of drag coming into the back behind his crash helmet.
Creating some rear downforce.
Yeah, well, who knows? It's certainly creating a bit of drag. It's more like a Targa top now, isn't it? Surrey top on the car. And Andre Lotterer, well, he's definitely fighting the oversteer a lot more than Mike Jordan. Now, here's the battle for second place. Ollie Bryant in car number 11, the red and gold Cobra, and Phil Keane right behind him. Two men who cut their teeth in GT racing in the British Championship, and Andre Lotterer, multiple Le Mans winner, with Mike Jordan, a GT champion, a British touring car racer, and now a great preparer of cars. It was here's number 10 Cortina they held up so well, or the Jordan-built car, and a change for second. Through goes Phil Keane. Ollie Bryant couldn't fight him. Keane's got the inside line. Bryant will keep his toe in. If in doubt, don't bottle out. Bryant stays on the outside. Keane stays on the inside. Coming through Ford Water, again the Jag with the inside line.
The Jag's got the clear lead. This is, of course, where Andrew Smith was flicked off into the grass in previous years in that red and gold Cobra. But this is the battle then between 86. Now Mike Jordan up into 4th place ahead of Andre Lotterer.
Yeah, that E-Type.
Scalp.
Yeah, that E-Type doing 132 miles an hour down the back. And Mike Jordan, as you say, up into 4th. And here's where that happened again, down into the first corner. The Cobra starting to run out of brakes or tyres, or is it brakes and tyres?
Running out of road almost momentarily there, Martin, as Andre Lotterer is round the far end. He's now got the TVR to look at. Bit of a dent in the rear right of Andre Lotterer's Cobra as he's soaring away at the wheel, as this now is our new 2nd place man. It is still the Heart Cobra that leads by 20 seconds on the road, 15 seconds, apologies, on the road from this E-Type number 33 in 2nd place, and it is the red and gold Cobra that is in 3rd position. Just under 11 minutes remain.
Let's take a look at the pass for 2nd place. A lap ago, Phil Keane down the inside of Ollie Bryant in Cobra number 11 and straight by. First clear lap, so the last time round, Olivier Hart 1 minute 27.3 and Phil Keane 1 minute 27.6. Little to choose between them. Took Keane 2 or 3 corners to get by Ollie Bryant. Oh, Bryant pulls off. Marcus, again. I think you were right.
Oh, it's fallen again. The Bryant and Smith Cobra. How many times has this happened in recent years? Let down by a mechanical problem.
Yes, you saw Ollie Bryant beating the steering wheel in dismay.
That now means that Mike Jordan is up to 3rd position. He's on the podium. He's got a chance of getting some laurels now with just under 10 minutes remaining.
And Lotterer hasn't given up, believe me. He was very heavily into that right foot as he came out of St Mary's.
Well, they'll get the information on the pit board to know that it is a chance of a podium.
Well, the next time round, they will see that Cobra. You can't mistake the red and gold Cobra for anything else. And, you know, you'll see it in the grass. And there, unfortunately, Ollie Bryant walks away from that, very disappointed.
Gone off in search of the vet, I think.
Well, I don't think it needs shooting, it needs massaging to come back again next year and try once more. You know, look at how many times Toyota took to come back to Le Mans and win that. Let's hope it's not quite as long a wait for the...
It was Magic this time, it was Lavant, I think last time it broke. But here we go, this super battle between Mike Jordan and the ex-factory development road test car, road tested by John Bolster for Autosport, I think, in that period.
About 0.6 of a second gap advantage to Jordan over Lotterer on that last circulation. He makes it dance as it kicks and bucks and roos over the bumps on the edge of the Madrid corner. Second going through your, sorry, apologies, 3rd going through your shot, then Lotterer. Here, though, is LeBlanc, the car that was leading this race, in 6th.
Yeah, Nick Padmore started car number 15. Oh no, Joachim Fox-Rusnol started 15, so Nick Padmore catching him. And Ollie Bryant wondering what it is they have to do.
Yeah, that's a proper lightweight. That's the ex-Bruce McLaren car, the 15 car of Joachim Fox-Rusnol, now driven by historic lap record holder Nick Padmore.
Yeah, so Padmore on the heels of 63. And Carsten LeBlanc is going to struggle, I think, to hold off the E-Type for another 8 minutes. Martin Stretton started it, got the car into the lead. They had a fairly empty pit lane towards the end of the pit window when they came in. And it was as quick a stop as you can, or as they could make, but through goes the E-Type. Joachim Fox-Rusnol, little wave to say thanks very much. You know, you have to accept sometimes that the jig is up and let the other car go.
Yeah, Padmore in that car now.
Yeah, beg your pardon, Padmore in that car, absolutely right.
Jaguar with a commentary registration hounds up another position as he comes into Woodcote. 7.5 minutes remaining in this shortened Royal Automobile Club TT celebration race. David Hart looks on from the pit wall, or can he look on? Can he? He's got to wait those 7 minutes.
Well, listen, the gap's gone out from 10 to 13 seconds in 3 laps. His son Olivier is lapping at least a second quicker than the opposition every single lap, maybe as much as 1.5. Now, don't forget that in yesterday's Barry Sheene Memorial Trophy, Toby, going on to the final lap, the leader came off out of the chicane. It's not done until the checkered flag. Ollie Bryant and Andrew Davis will tell you that.
That was a commentator's curse, Martin. You know that. So let's not think about it, let alone talk about it in these remaining 6.5 minutes.
Well, in endurance racing, nothing is, well, in no racing is anything certain, whether it's 1 lap, 3.5 laps, or 24 hours. But right now, Olivier Hart is doing everything right. And you've got to hand it to David Hart as well. Started the car superbly. One little error with the chicane, and that cost them 5-second penalty, but they've undone that and lots more. This is a hugely potent combination, Marcus. I don't think the 33E type is going to be able to catch.
No, that's right. And it looks like while they're trying really hard and they're stretching away from the rest, the leader comes past inside the 80 Corvette, moves obligingly out of the way at St Mary's. Here's 33, not even down with us yet, and that's a very rapid Phil Keane. There are still 1 or 2 bits of stuff in the track, tried to show earlier problems, but nothing worth appearing.
I wonder if that's a bit of TVR, possibly a rear window. They are collector's cars, you just have to collect the bits that fell off on the slowing down lap. Here's Phil Keane then in 33, Mike Jordan in 86.
Oh, Jordan locks a brake in the middle of St Mary's, and that allows Lotterer to get closer.
I was going to say, he hasn't shaken off Lotterer at all.
And that's one of the reasons, because he did his fastest speed down the back section towards that corner, Marcus. That's why he maybe was arriving at his regular braking point 2 or 3 miles an hour more, and that will be the difference between making the corner and not. Every lap is on the limit for these guys. This is the battle for third, and there's even more coming off the back of it. Looks like the windscreen seal has fallen off.
Yeah.
Well, the next thing you know, it'll be spitting off the bonnet, and then that will be really bad news indeed for Mike Jordan, but a fantastic battle for third place.
Then you go back to the old acronym, wouldn't you? Tow vehicle required.
Looked like he was throwing off a snake towards a cobra.
Yes, absolutely did. Yeah, that is definitely, oh, definitely has a ceiling strip, or it looked like a lot of hose. Andre Lotterer going, oh, mate, you've dropped something.
Yeah, that's the seal out of the back windscreen, and that would sound like a massive clatter underneath the right-hand side of Andre.
Andre Lotterer now thinks he's a Bond villain chasing 007 who's firing bits off at him. When the oil slick and the machine guns start, then he'll really know.
Never seen a snake come out the back of a 007 car.
Snake attacks the Cobra. You don't get this stuff at Le Mans, says Andre. So out front still, that is, yes, that's a bit of TVR.
That Mike has to drive round every lap so that he might be able to put it back in.
Yes, absolutely, everybody. Do you know how much those bits are? I'm not going to hit that.
It's an original screen, I need to keep it.
Well, Mike is doing a fantastic job hanging on to third place, and here is a battle, 63. This is Castle Le Bon, and this is Jason Plato, goes by the number 9 Corvette.
He does.
Fantastic job.
7th place now for Plato.
Yeah, they've had a penalty as well for something, whether they came into the pits too early or too late, not sure.
Clattered the chicane, Martin.
Oh, they clattered the chicane as well, to be okay. So he goes through, goes by car number 17. That was the car started by Darren Turner at the back of the field, and now being driven by Rory Henderson. So he stays out of the way, 63. Castle Le Bon comes through. Now here's our battle for third. 86, Mike Jordan, ahead of 151, Andre Lotterer. Again, I defy you to tell me where Lotterer has started in a car that had 3 digits other than here in Goodwood. God, look at that. I bet it doesn't feel comfortable or easy from the passenger seat when he's in full attack mode, does it?
Not supposed to.
No, I know it's not. Absolutely so. So coming past 28, or just about to come past 28, and that Cobra is the Jarrier to come past 28. And that Cobra is the Jarrier and Greg Audi car. Greg Audi driving it now. That's 16th. So the leader has lapped everybody up to at least 16th.
Hesitating for a moment, just wondering where that other Cobra was going to go for Andre Lotterer, as we have our leader coming round to complete another lap.
Yeah, it's difficult when you're unfamiliar with those you're racing against, isn't it?
Correct. As Graham Hill would say, you have a Rolodex in your mind and you go to that card for that particular driver.
Yeah, and the other thing, of course, is the faster driver wants the slower driver to stay online, so it's predictable, but the slower driver feels the need to get out of the way. But when you move offline, where are you going next? Well, no one's got any idea.
Here comes old red stripe number 1, served them so well, and down past one of the beautiful Porsche 904 Carrera GTSs.
Yeah, that being driven now by Brian Redman.
Goes just past the Lister Jaguar Coupe that used to be part of Tim Harvey's family. Used to be driven on the hills and the circuits, but great to see it back in action. There you have it. 90 seconds remaining in this 45-minute race.
Yeah, Phil Keane in second place. He's 11 seconds clear of Mike Jordan stroke Andre Lotterer. And they're about a second and a half apart now. Jordan creeping away in the TVR from Lotterer in the Cobra. But at the moment, it is Cobra, Jaguar, TVR, the podium. Minute and a half, that'll get them one more lap. So the leader will start another lap with just about a minute to go. It's a minute 25 on the clock, so, or per lap rather. And so this will be the final lap of the race. Time will have run out by the time Olivier Hart returns to the start-finish straight. One more time round.
Just listen to this AC Cobra as he comes down the home straight. Picks up 4.7 litre engine and now ride with him. Look, he's turning left on the way in.
In front of us on the right is the Speedo. The driver only has the rev counter in front of him. Your passenger watches what the speed limit is.
As he grips to the seat, now he goes up another cog down towards the first part of St Mary's, tips it in, gets it turned, goes through there, always soaring, working away at the wheel, not quite swatting flies, he doesn't get quite that crossed up as he clips the apex once more, kicks the car sideways, gives it a bit of left hand down and past Marcus Pye. It's a left-hander, but he's turning right.
And he's got the two up ahead of him to worry about on the exit of lap, one suspects. Meanwhile, I've seen a change with Manassian going up a place, but looks at things ahead of LeBlanc.
Understeer in the first part of that corner, but now Martin, he's only got half a lap remaining.
You can wind the understeer out with an application right, but 28's off in the bank.
Yeah, so 28 is off in the bank, and that is Greg Audi. As the car of Jean-Pierre Jarier started, it is the last lap of the race. It is the last lap of the Royal Automobile Club Tourist Trophy celebration. David Hart started car number 1 from pole. Olivier Hart is going to come through to take the checkered flag. Pole to victory, so straightforward, but it wasn't. They've undone a 5-second penalty for David Hart clipping the chicane, and it is victory for Cobra number 1. Charging up behind is the Jaguar. John Minshaw started 33 from the outside the front row of the grid. Phil Keane will take it to second place. The semi-lightweight E-Type out to the chicane for the final time. The checkered flag awaits. They take a fine second position.
And in third place, there was a massive attack by Lotterer into St Mary's. He got within about a foot of the back of the TVR, dropped it, slid really wide, got under the grass. There were belches of flame from the exhaust, and he's dropped back. He caught it on reflexes, but the net result is that Mike Jordan has a much bigger margin in third place over Andre Lotterer. What a fabulous battle that was, all the way to the final lap, and Lotterer drove the wheels off the 151 ex-Derek Riddler Lek Cobra, but the monster moments at St Mary's. Give a big round of applause as it won. Olivier Hart, winner for a second time today.
Absolutely right. If there isn't a lunch, is it even the last lap? Fantastic stuff from Andre Lotterer. You saw Tom Coronel and Pauline Schwartz there. The Dutch combination ready to congratulate David Hart, and they'll be waiting to meet Olivier Hart on the grid when he arrives to take the trophy for victory.
And a big shout out for Joaquin Fock, Roussignol, Nick Padmore. That is one of the original lightweight Jags in this company, has finished a brilliant 5th. Kind of a 15, Joaquin Fock and Nick Padmore.
but everybody applauding the winner of this motor race as he comes back down towards the winner's circle. What a fantastic drive by the two hearts, and that's what it means for Olivier as he crosses the line. Look at it, it's bigger than a world championship, isn't it, to win at the Goodwood Revival, and you can see the glint in his eye as he cools it down into his winner's parade lap, but everybody applauding. How proud must the dad feel to see his son finish the race as the winner, but most of all to win it as a combo. Great racing. And the margin of victory officially 18.3 seconds, but don't forget 5 seconds taken out of that time, so it was actually a 23.3 seconds victory.
The fastest lap of the race on the final lap.
Wow.
Did Olivier Hart. Yes, the fuel tankage was down, but what a brilliant drive.
He qualified on pole, 1 minute 24.5, his fastest race lap. At the end of 45 minutes of frantic tyre abuse, a 1 minute 25.4 within a second of his pole time. That's a fantastic performance. This kid is going to be he is already a monster star, and again paints himself firmly into contention for driver of the meeting. It's the Dutch invasion into the winner's circle, back on the grid, and how proud are they? What a top race. Yeah, there's a proud daddy, David Hart, with son Olivier. You know, David's no slouch, is he, Marcus? He's been a historic racer in a modern race for many years. Tom Coronel painted their Alpha in for victory from the outside of the front row of the grid in the St Mary's Trophy Part 2, and Olivier duly delivered. And I'm sure if we'd asked Tom, he would have bet very heavily on car number 1 winning here. And again, David Hart and Olivier, his son, have absolutely delivered the goods, and what a race.
There's a kind of Mike Hawthorne-esque look about him with that tousled blonde hair, isn't there?
Well, let's hear from our winners.
Very emotional scenes down here on the start-finish straight, and I think, ladies and gentlemen, the future of Dutch motorsport is in very safe hands with this man here. Olivier, what a sensational stint from you there.
Yeah, thank you. My dad had obviously an amazing start, like he always does. It's amazing how he always does it. I don't know how he does it, but he explained me with the GTA later when I drove the Alpha. So the second time I started, it was good. And now we had some bad luck that he touched the chicane. So I just had head down and tried to do my best and do some good laps and keep the car on the track.
Well, you certainly did that. David, just a quick word on your boy's performance.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Now, look, what about that incident that got you the 5-second penalty? Very frustrating. Didn't matter in the end, but just talk us through it.
It was stupid. No, I was a little bit too greedy.
A little bit greedy, but what a great performance by you guys. And Olivier, I have to say, you were still pushing very, very hard at the end, even when you had a comfortable gap.
You never know if you have a back mark or something, or you lose the rear end, you just go off and you can lose some seconds. So I wanted to be safe, and that's how I drove.
Okay, well, look, Max Verstappen, move out the way. We've got this guy coming through. Old cars, youth to the fore. Many congratulations from all of us. Well done, you guys.
A man of few words, isn't he, David Hart? I was being greedy. It was just stupid. Well, there's Jochen Mass offering his congratulations. Not the first, and he won't be the last to congratulate David and Olivier Hart on a fine win in the Royal Automobile Club TT Celebration Race. Ahead of Phil Keenan, John Minshaw, and Mike Jordan and Mike Whitaker taking third, ahead of Joe Twyman and Andre Lotter as AC Cobra. Joaquin Folk-Roussenol and Nick Padmore in fifth, and the Steve Soper John Young Jaguar E-Type rounding out the top half dozen. The Davison Plato car, the first of the Corvette Stingrays to come home, ahead of Carson LeBlanc and Martin Stretton's Cobra, and that car, of course, led up until the pit stops. Manashian Reed's very original Bell and Colville number 3 Cobra rounding out in 9th place ahead of the Blakeney Edwards and Wakeman Lister Jaguar Coupe, a really attractive looking car in 10th. Marco Attard in 11th in his Stingray. Nigel Greensall in the Sunbeam Tiger in 12th ahead of Stig Blomqvist, and then Cobras again filling up the lower order of the top 20 into 18th. Brian Redmond finished the race in the Porsche 904. Derek Bell 19th and Richard Atwood in 20th. Well, there you go. A fascinating and absolutely edge of the seat from start to finish race in the Royal Automobile Club TT celebration. Well, let's hear from Phil Keane and John Minshaw.
Okay, well, we have the second place guys here, Phil Keane, John Minshaw. I'm going to start with the guy who's just got out of the car. Looking very fresh, Phil, but talk us through the race from your point of view.
I know John had a good start and got going. Unfortunately, the throttle was stuck, so the car was stuck at about 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, which made it very tricky, to be honest. So as soon as I got past Ollie, I just backed off because we need it for next weekend. But no, it was a fantastic race. It's just a shame I couldn't give Ollie a run for his money because of the throttle. But you know, the guys of VMS have done a fantastic job. This is this car's first run, and we're looking forward to coming back in the future.
Well, John, just talk us through, when are you normally changing up? What RPM?
Well, we change at about 6.8, so you know, when you're coming into the corner and you're braking and the throttle won't sort of, you know, come back down to sort of 1,500 revs and you're stuck at 4, it's very difficult to stop the car because you're fighting the engine. And in the end, you know, I didn't realise until I came in for the driver change that we had that issue. It explains a lot of reasons why I thought I cooked the brakes, but it explains why I couldn't stop the car.
Okay, well, you hadn't run out of talent, that's for sure. Isn't it extraordinary, John, that we've got 3 different marks in the top 3 positions?
Well, I think it's great. It's great that 3 cars, 3 different cars, 3 different marks are competitive and all quite capable of winning the race.
And Phil, just coming back to you, it's extraordinary how well these youthful drivers, I mean, how old are you, Phil, and just how quickly you're able to drive these old cars?
Well, I'm quite old now, so unfortunately Ollie's a spring chicken compared to me, but no, I've had, you know, lots of experience and they really are fantastic, and it's a fantastic event, and it's great to be part of it, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Has anyone told you you're a Nico Hulkenberg lookalike?
If only I had his talent.
You sure have. Look, well done today, guys. Many congratulations.
Great combination in modern and in older cars. Phil Keane with John Minshaw. There's Mike Jordan, Mike Whitaker. They finished in 3rd place in the TVR Griffith. Let's hear from them. Tom's with them.
Well, here we have the 3rd place guys. Mike and Mike, but Mike Jordan, let's start with you. Just talk us through it.
Well, I thought when the rear window had fallen out, sort of after about 3 or 4 laps, that was probably going to be us doomed because I didn't know what it was going to do. But Mike kept going and did a good job, and then I just got on with it at the end and had a fantastic race. Wasn't sure who was in any of the cars, but just did every lap as fast as I could, and it sort of worked out.
Hang on. The window fell out. Okay, so what were you battling with? Exactly what was that like to drive with?
Well, we'll probably get thrown out because this is the TVR Griffith pickup truck. So, and Mike and I are going to sit in the back of it now going round. So, yeah, it's actually a bit cooler. And I don't think the car's the most aerodynamic in the world, so it probably didn't hinder it too much.
Now, tell them, Mike, you're laughing at that. Just talk us through your stint.
Well, I started, so you get the classic, everybody thinks that the 45 to 60 minutes is 20 seconds to Madgwick. So there was a few incidents in front of us, dropped us to 11th, and then sort of pulled back through the field. There's a bit of rubbing and racing, hence we lost the rear screen. I think when I was heading backwards to No Name on lap 11, I thought that was our race done. But it sort of got a bit of the Blackpool mist going and just kept plugging then. And you know it's just a long race and you know cars don't finish. So I think it's wonderful. And you know, this car raced here in 1965. That's why it's on wire wheels. A World War II fighter pilot drove it, so it's brilliant to bring it back here.
Of course, it's 100 years of the RAF this year, isn't it? So it all fits in perfectly. Well done to you guys. Great race. It's a great race.
Great, thank you.
I'm not sure it was aerodynamic to start with. Definitely was less aerodynamic without that rear window in, but they did a fantastic job. TVR Griffith started on the outside of row 3 in 8th position. As Mike Whitaker said, everybody was trying to win it in the first 200 yards. In the end, the pole-sitting car got away. Getting away also the number 47 Cobra, not in a way that the driver intended. And then what could have been a deciding moment with David Hart leading. He picked up a penalty as he clipped the chicane. Battle behind between the Cobras kept us royally entertained. Moment off the track for John Minshaw allowed through the red and gold Cobra. Rob Huff was closing in fast by this stage in 6th position. Well, the damage to the chicane cost a lot more than a little biff for David Hart. John Minshaw struggling to keep the car on track. Martin Stretton in 63 closing in on the battle for the lead as 4 Cobras diced around the flat-out blinds of the Goodwood motor circuit. Olivier Hart waiting for the pit stops to do his best as the cars charged around. And trouble on its way for cut 7 in the hands of Rob Huff. He escaped from the number 33 type, got in front of the Cobras, but then chasing Martin Stretton and David Hart got alongside and up to the battle for the lead. Stretton trying everything he could to get by David Hart as Huff reeled them in a little too much. David Hart catching Stretton out under braking, and Stretton in turn catching Huff out. Nose damage meant an end of the race for cut 7. It was fatally wounded. Busy pit lane as the starting drivers rushed in. A drag off pit road with the 11 and the 1 Cobra. And by this stage, a 5-second penalty had been added to the time of car number 1, and they needed to undo that. 63, Martin Stretton stayed out long before handing over his Cobra to owner Carsten LeBlanc. And Stretton was starting to run out of grip late on in the stint. 45-minute race, the pit lane opened from the 15th to the 30th minute, and he took it out towards the end of the pit window to hand over to Carsten LeBlanc. He came back on in front of Andre Lotterer, but the leaders by that stage were gone. Mike Jordan in the TVR Griffith 400, or 350 pickup as it was by that stage, working his way up the order. But out front, Olivier Hart setting fastest lap after fastest lap, pulling away from their rivals as he not only unwound the 5-second penalty, but added to their advantage lap by lap. Phil Keane going by Ollie Bryant, whose car eventually went sick. And then a great battle. Mike Jordan racing wheel to wheel with Andre Lotterer. It was the battle for third. It was for fourth. It became the battle for third as Ollie Bryant parked the Alan Mann coloured Cobra. 63, Carsten LeBlanc. A moment of indiscretion off track left him susceptible to attack. And further up the order went the number 15 E-type of Joachim Forschrussel and Nick Padmore. As the time wound down, Olivier Hart just concentrated on setting quick laps, the fastest on the very last lap to take the checkered flag at the end of 45 frantic minutes and claim a family victory in the Royal Automobile Club TT celebration. Brabham, John Milicic behind him, Andy Middlehurst in third around the outside, Tim De Silva, the cream car, in fourth. We'll wait to see what the officials make of Sam Wilson rejoining the grid, but history tells us that might not play too well for him. He did make a good start. 2 wide, 3 wide now. Through comes Middlehurst.
Burst through the middle between King and Milicevic. Those 3 are clear of the rest as they howl down towards us at the end of Fordwater into St Mary's for the first time. Absolutely sensational. The Lotus number 25 ahead of the Brabham number 22. Then it's the 17, the LDS, the LD Serurier Special of John Milicevic. He looks to the inside going into Lavant. There's nothing going there, but the Ferrari's with him as well. Yeah. And that's Joe Colasacco with that shrill 12-cylinder Ferrari up into 4th place and screaming. And right with him, looks like it's that Sam Wilson?
It is Sam Wilson, yeah. So this is 3rd, 4th and 5th. And John Milicevic is being swallowed up by the Ferraris. It wails past. Up into 3rd place goes car number 13, the red Ferrari with the blue wheels. So he's up to 3rd, Milicevic down to 4th, and Sam Wilson in 5th position. The dark car with the green and blue fluorescent helmet. He's got Martin Stretton right behind him as well. So it's Middlehurst who leads across the line by 1.25 seconds. And then in 2nd place is Joe Colasacco. 3rd place, number 17, John Milicevic. I'd forgotten that James King was further back. He is now being chased by Wilson and Stretton. De Silva got shuffled down the order around the back of the circuit in his cream-coloured car. So his Lotus BRM down in 7th and losing ground and being caught by Richard Atwood.
Richard Atwood in the number 1 car. We saw him having a great start going through Madge Madgwick for the first time of asking. There is Martin Stretton, Sam Wilson in front of him.
Lotus versus Ferrari. Lotus versus Ferrari versus LDS. It's King, Stretton, and the rest going through behind. Fantastic, the music of these engines down here. Glorious number 14 there, one of the Coopers. That's the ex-Bruce McLaren Monaco Grand Prix winning Cooper of Richard Wilson.
Number 20, Alex Morton, pulls off. So he is out of the race from just outside the top 12. Leader Andy Middlehurst pulling away from Joe Colasacco on lap 1. But Colasacco faster in the first sector by a couple of tenths. So the Ferrari with his nose down and chasing. 10-second penalty has been awarded to car number 21. And so Sam Wilson pays the penalty for retaking his grid spot, and that has dropped him down from where he actually is on the road, trying to take 4th place from James King. He is down in 18th. Oh, he's not. He's down in about 11th or 12th place on aggregate. So Wilson now has to win this race by more than 10 seconds over Andy Middlehurst. Marcus, odds on that?
Nil. Very long.
So, however, on the road, the car that's in 4th place, the green helmet with the red noseband, that is not in 4th place in real life.
Colasacco, fastest man on this circuit at the moment. He's closing in on the leader. Not quite got the sheer legs in top speed to try and catch Andy Middlehurst, but Colasacco at 1:23.7. 35 thousandths of a second quicker than Middlehurst. He needs more than that in the Ferrari to catch the Lotus. Colasacco, you know, podium man, as we've already mentioned. The fact that Middlehurst already winning this race in the past, but that is a hell of a start from Colasacco. He started down the order, 6th position on the grid, and he's up to 2nd.
And Nick Fennell in 29 on the previous winner.
It's getting closer. It's getting closer, lap by lap, corner by corner, 130 mile an hour between these cars. Well, the battle for 3rd place is John Milicevic in the maroon number 17, trying to get by Sam Wilson on the road. Don't forget Wilson with a 10-second penalty, so he's effectively behind all these guys. Does he know? No, he probably doesn't. Should he know? Yes, he absolutely should. But you're more likely to do well if you start at the front of the grid and incur a 10-second penalty than if you start at the back of the grid, 30th. Little bit of fluid, little bit of vapour coming about out of the back of the LDS. Is that you could see as they went through Madgwick. Is that going to be a problem for the Burgundy car?
Watch over here. Leaders getting close together. The blue wheel Ferrari closing on the yellow wheeled Lotus. Through goes Wilson. Wilson gets a real slide on through here. The LDS is okay.
Yeah, big problem for Sam Wilson. Looks like he's pulling off. He is pulling off. Maybe that's the issue that caused him not to get away from the grid reoccurring.
Yeah, it suddenly went a bit, lost all its grip by the looks of things, slid off, and he's pulled off on the exit of St Mary's, out of my sight.
Wonder if it had a transmission issue. Maybe it's broken a drive shaft or stripped a gear. If you lose drive in the middle of the corner, that doesn't help the handling. Now the battle for 3rd on the road is the battle for 3rd. On the timing screens, Milicevic in 17, and down the inside, James King, number 22. That was a good, solid move. He sent it early. He telegraphed it early. I'm coming by. I'm still here. Through he went. Leaders across the line. 1.08 seconds. It's down to half a second.
5.3 seconds, Martin. Another fastest lap. The 3rd consecutive fastest lap from Colasacco on that last one. 1:23.5 compared with the 1:24.0 of Middlehurst. Yeah, we have got a race at the front of this one.
Easier to chase than make the base, I think, particularly with an ever-changing track surface. It looks pretty slippery out here. There's a little puff of liquid there, but the Ferrari now all over the back of the gearbox of the leading Lotus as they come down to me. This fantastic noise, the V8 Climax engine, and the 12-cylinder Ferrari howls through behind as Joe Colasacco, the American, in behind the leader. 3rd is King, 4th is Milicevic. 5th is Atwood and 6th is Silva.
Are we at Goodwood or are we at Monza back in 63, 64? Where are we?
Yeah, well, we are perfectly placed in a circuit that reflects the era and cars that have been driven exactly as hard as they would have been. And here comes the Ferrari, Joe Colasacco. He's got a wrong going. He's having to go the long way around the outside of Andy Middlehurst. Not many times he took up Middlehurst around the outside, I'm suggesting. So Colasacco is going to have to find a way through. But the more he puts pressure on the leader, Marcus, the more he is likely to force an error. And you can see again, he has got the goggles painted on the top of his full face helmet. The leaders, they don't need their pit board. There's no one in the rear view, and they are first and second. No, they're not goggles, that's just his helmet pattern. Looks like a pair of goggles tucked up over his head. But the American in the Ferrari charging hard.
Yep, it's Lotus versus Ferrari, and those two at head track. We've got pairs of cars disputing first and second, third and fourth, fifth and sixth, and seventh and eighth places. So awesome stuff. Last guy's just gone through. I think that's Eric Stas, the Belgian.
Now Middlehurst has got an advantage in sheer top speed down the two big drags here at Goodwood. 138 mile an hour as opposed to the mere 132 of the Ferrari. But now it's the chance for Cole Sacco to duck and dive and dodge and weave and see where Middlehurst is quicker, see where maybe there's a hole in the armour. Yes, it's 0.36 on the screen. It's just 2 car lengths.
Well, look at these speeds. You're going to be slipstreaming beautifully behind the Lotus. Cole Sacco again looking on the outside. This is where he's got the advantage, but he's got to get underneath Middlehurst, or does he? He's going the long way around the outside into the long double right-hander at Woodcote. Can he hang on? Has he just got enough? Middlehurst got half an undercut, and he's back in front of the chicane. Joe Colasacco will have to try that again, but he just needs to start it a yard or two sooner.
Now the driver's briefing, everything to do with the clean racing that we've just had there.
We have had so much fantastically clean wheel-to-wheel racing all weekend. Now, though, there is traffic in front of them. And you're right, Marcos, it's the 36 car of Eric Stays. In fact, that's not. They've gone by somebody else, so they passed the leader and Milicevic, beg your pardon, and Colasacco having another little look there at Andy Middlehurst as they come towards you.
Yes, he's got more grunt by the looks of things, and he's very, very close as they scream back down towards me. One more car ahead of them. That'll be the 27 car. And that is Gendre. Oh, and a missed gear, I think. A missed gear for Colasacco. You heard that scream. He got another cog, though.
Well, it doesn't look like he's lost too much of an advantage. Andy Middlehurst will be looking in those mirrors, but at least there's a great big red thing that he won't have much trouble seeing. Goodness me, what a race. Look at this. The cigar chassis, the big tall tyres, the lowly slung driving position. Is it a little bit closer? Don't think it is. He's going to have to go around the outside. Great, clever driving by Andy Middlehurst. How late is Middlehurst on the brakes? He's got command of the corner as we come round to complete lap 7.
Yeah, Colasacco, though, is cleaning up that part of the racetrack lap after lap. If he needs the grip, it will be there. Through the chicane again at the end of lap 7. And Colasacco with the fastest lap at 1:23.5, but at the moment they're lapping in the 1:25s. It's a real cat and mouse game. Behind them, James King in 3rd, John Milicevic, fellow front row starter, in 4th. They were separated by a full half a second. Richard Atwood, 5th, is now pulling away from Timothy De Silva in 6th position.
And Ben Mitchell 2 laps ago went past Martin Stratton in the Formula 2 car.
He's not doing badly.
In a sheer drag race, the Ferrari has got the advantage from the chicane to the finish line if it comes to that, but it's still a balance around this 2.4 miles.
Where's James King gone? He's not showing.
In the pits, James King. He's just got back to us, and I think he's just turned straight into the pit lane. Meanwhile, the leaders in traffic, they go by the number 24 car, the white and blue machine, stays out of the way.
Now Middlehurst had a bit of a wobble mid-corner there. Does that give an advantage to the Ferrari? It looks as if it's closer. He's trying to get alongside him. It's a bit earlier. He's ahead, but only by a nose. Level as they go into Madgwick, into Woodcote corner. But again, Middlehurst has it. How does he do it?
Well, because Colasacco's line was blocked by the slower car. That's the number 15 car, I think, of Paul Woolley, the other Scirocco BRM. They've just passed Harinder De Silva's one, and Middlehurst squeezes around the outside of car number 2, Federico Peratti, and the gap opens up. The Ferrari badly held up there. Couldn't do anything about it. Slower traffic is always a factor in these races.
Oh, it's a real shame. He's got to do all that work again, but he knows he's got the speed. Now here we have it. The back marker doing everything he can to get out of the way. The Ferrari gives him a wide berth, and all of a sudden, all that hard work has been undone, and it's now a second and a half. But he's got clean track in front of him. There we have a spinner. That's Dan Collins going around and around.
That's the 1961 American Grand Prix winning Lotus 21, the car that Innis Island won at Watkins Glen in Team Lotus's first Grand Prix winner.
Well, we have a break for Andy Middlehurst. First to second was 1.5 seconds at the line. It won't be 1.5 seconds at the line the next time. Off goes car number 11. That's Malcolm Cook in his Brabham BT10. And he rejoins in front of the leaders. This is not good news for Andy Middlehurst.
Oh, and keeping on the power all the way through was Colasacco, and he's back with the leader.
In one lap, it's all been turned around.
Well, there you go. The gap opened up a second and a half with traffic. It's closed a second and a half with traffic. They're where they were 2 laps ago. Status quo has been resumed. The battle for the lead is again on a short piece of elastic, and millimetres offline is going to be very expensive here. Andy Middlehurst must keep it neat and tidy, but Marks, he's got the experience of leading these races and winning them.
Absolutely, he's looking for his 6th win in this race. That's something that eluded Mark Gillies in the RAR3A yesterday, denied by Callum Lockie again in the Maserati 6CM in the early Grand Prix car race, but Colasacco looking very determined.
Has he got a good run out of Madgwick? Does he look a little bit closer as they pass another back marker there out towards Fordwater?
Jason Wright in the Darrington Francis was really keeping his eyes on the mirrors. He just knew that there's something coming up behind him, and they flash by. And pulling off, this is one of the, I know, this is the Brabham, isn't it? Pulling off, so, yeah, but this is where it all went wrong for the Lotus. Watch the Ferrari side through with those distinctive sky blue wheels. He didn't lift at all because the gaps opened up for him. Everybody saw Middlehurst coming, and through they went. Now, the yellows were where the car went off. Hopefully that was a clean pass, and here we go. Colasacco again challenging for the lead. He's got another run going on the Lotus, and again Middlehurst takes middle and leg. He keeps the car on the defensive inside line, and Colasacco is going to have to find another way round.
Richard Atwood, 4 times winner of this race, he won it back in 2000. He's up into 3rd place. 77-year-old Richard Atwood ahead of John Milicevic. Martin Stretton's had an autocross moment here at St Mary's, but recovered.
Yeah, Martin Stretton dropped down to 7th. He's got back in front of car number 3, which was Ben Mitchell's Black Lola.
Oh, before he went autocrossing.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely right, before he went autocrossing. So, Richard Atwood, how far away is he from John Milicevic? He was only 0.3 of a second at the line. Atwood could be on the podium here, and will it be Colasacco that wins in the Ferrari, or Middlehurst again in the Lotus? There's Atwood, car number 1. There's Milicevic. So Atwood in 3rd place.
De Silva's with them.
Yeah,
De Silva's caught them.
So 3rd position covered by half a second.
There's something coming out of the back of the LDS now for definite.
Well, it was smoking earlier on, and De Silva's nose looks pretty loose. I'm sure that's bouncing up and down in his vision, that cream nose bouncing around.
It was loose at the beginning, Martin.
Yeah,
it's been
right.
Loose all race.
Maybe that's the way that they all do that.
They all do that, sir.
Richard Atwood in 3rd in the BRM. I have never said that in my commentary life.
And it's
25 years, isn't it fantastic? Here's the battle for the lead, though. Andy Middlehurst still with Joe Colasacco. And it is again will to and again trouble because there's another BRM in front.
That's Andrew Waring's BRM, I suspect, number 26.
Yep, the one with the rear disc brake. There's the, you want to beg pardon, no, that's a different car, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, they go past 26. He stays well out of the way, almost straight lines to chicane in the P261. And again, another slower car in front, smoking a little bit.
3 laps to go or so. That's where it's going to be between these two. Can this race get any closer here at the Goodwood Revival? The action gets quicker. 123.4, 127 miles an hour down the back section for Colasacco on that last lap.
15 thousandths quicker than Andy Middlehurst on that lap. 15 thousandths between them. There's the battle for 4th. The maroon car and the cream car. John Milicevic in 17 and Timothy De Silva right behind him in the cream car, and that is as close as this battle. But Richard Atwood is Richard Atwood down to 5th at the line, so he's being deposed by Milicevic and De Silva.
It's all about the momentum. You know that. Everybody knows that about these cars. But the touch on the wheel, you literally have just these guys have just got to baby the wheel round. Hardly turn it too much. The fear of scrubbing off too much speed. The V8 leads. The V12 is alongside. And it is alongside. But no, not as quite as much as before. Or is he? As the Ferrari goes around the outside. And he's done it. He leads.
He has taken the lead around the outside. He's rehearsed that on almost every single lap. So lap 12 of the race, a change. Joe Colasacco takes the lead in the fabulous Whaling V12 Ferrari. So now, Marcus, you said it earlier on, You said it's easier to chase than it is to be hunted. Now, will Colasarco stay in front, or will the Andy Middlehurst-driven Lotus be able to take it? We've got just under 3 minutes to go. This lap plus one more.
Flat 12, not V12. Apologies.
Thank you, Doug Nye. So, Joe Colasarco, it looks like he had the quicker car. He set 2 or 3 quicker laps than Andy Middlehurst, but being behind with 15 thousandths of a second quicker car, it's very hard to convert that. It's taken him a dozen laps to make the lead. Now can he escape, or is Middlehurst going to have a last lap lunge?
Doesn't look like it from here, does it? In the classic Team Lotus car, as we go a little bit further back.
Well,
there
there's
you
third.
have De Silva in 3rd position.
Yeah, Tim De Silva dropped all the way down to 5th position. He's fought his way back up to 3rd, ahead of John Milicevic and ahead of Richard Atwood. Atwood back down to 5th place. So I'm afraid Richard Atwood is not likely to finish on the podium now.
How cool would that have been?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, sub-zero.
Well, there is Atwood in the background. Looks as though the BRM may perhaps have just gone a little sick underneath him, because he had enough pace to get in front of these two, and now they have dropped him. So Atwood in 5th position was 2.8 behind Milicevic last time round after a 1 minute 26.2 lap, which was a full second slower than the number 17 LDS.
Doug Nye hasn't got the headset on behind us here in the commentary box. He says that Richard Atwood's engine sounds very, very sick indeed.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. Well, there's number 25 BRM just in front of our battle, which is much closer now. De Silva versus Milicic for the podium. There's Richard Atwood in what might now be maybe a V7 BRM. And look, De Silva checking the mirrors. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Through traffic they come.
Yeah, Milicevic never gives up. They've got the wearing Brabham ahead of them, the car with the orange noseband, John tucking in. Look who's going really well down the order, Enrico Spaggiari's come up really well in the number 12 car to 9th place. And he's challenging John Clark for 8th.
Yeah, he's got ahead of Sid Hall, who's now in 10th from 14th on the grid. But Tim De Silva in the cream car is just keeping his nose in front. The Lotus nose bashing around the middle. Has made a mistake and he's gone off. And that may have sealed it. 25 seconds remain, so there will be 1 lap to go. Now, was there that back marker involved? Did Colasarco get through safely? There is still more traffic. Colasarco in front. He goes through and goes by car number, is that number 10?
Dan Collins, he's had a spin though.
Yeah, well, Dan Collins though is in 13th place. No, Andy Middlehurst just ran out of grip and ran out of road. Has somebody left fluid down that wasn't there last lap? That's a very un-Andy Middlehurst mistake.
These are live pictures now as we start the last lap battle for 3rd between De Silva and Milicevic. De Silva got the advantage, nothing between them, 3/10 on the screen, but you can see there's nothing like red rag for a bull. Is it going to be the Laurels or is it going to be straight to Parc Ferme for the 17? He's going to go around the inside. There's nothing there. They almost touch as they go into Ford Water.
Yeah, it's incredible. This is a young lad from the States who races modern cars over there, and 6 times national champion in historic single-seaters, John Milicevic.
Well, Milicevic was 0.4 of a second quicker on his fastest lap than Tim De Silva. Can he find that pace now in the LDS? No problem at the moment for another American, Joe Colasarco. So will we get 2 Americans on the podium? Joe Colasarco in the 1512 Ferrari out of the final corner. Ferrari wins at Goodwood. The Glover Trophy goes to Joe Colasarco. Andy Middlehurst, like Mark Gillies yesterday, denied a 6th win. The Lotus in 2nd, and here's the battle for 3rd. De Silva, the pale car, Milicevic around the outside. He tucks him up like a kipper. He knew that he had to do it once and once only, and around the double right-hander at Woodcote.
It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. It is. He just gets it.
It's a long way. This is not Monza. It is a long way to the finish line. But De Silva undid himself by following Milicevic's wheel tracks instead of pulling to the inside where he could use that speed.
Draw breath, Martin. Draw breath.
Can't. More warm applause from our sunlit crowds here at Goodwood, and here is the final corner sort out. Milicevic knew where he had to go, swallowed a handful of brave pills, and he found the grip.
That was
Great
imperious,
stuff.
wasn't it?
Wow, that's proper brave. That belief in the vehicle. I thought that De Silva was gonna get a bit of a run.
Yeah, John Milicevic, 50 years old, he beats the young lad.
Well, do you know what? He might have just celebrated a fraction too early if De Silva hadn't kicked up the dust out the chicane.
He knew he had to talk over the little V8
yeah, that would
to do it.
Might have been a different deal. Well, one of our Spitfires heads off for the evening. And off into the evening. What a fabulous thing to do. What a fabulous thing to do. The clip wing of the ground attack version of the Spitfire, leaving the former RAF West Hampnet in its tail tracks.
Martin, you've just commentated on a Ferrari 1.5 litre flat 12 Grand Prix car winning at Goodwood ahead of a Lotus, and a Spitfire takes off into an autumnal evening. I mean, we just don't want to go home, do we?
Well, this is the problem with the revival. Where do you look? Because wherever you look, you're missing something behind you or above you or below you, or yeah, just my first memory of the revival, the very first revival, I was at an FIA GT race at the A1 ring in Austria. It was cold, wet, miserable. Justin Bell and I were driving back to the airport in a filthy rainstorm, and he phoned his dad. Dad, where are you? Oh, I'm at the revival. What are you doing? What's that noise? I'm just sitting here drinking champagne as a Spitfire flies overhead in the warm summer sunshine. Well, 20 years on, nothing has changed except I'm not in cold, wet, miserable Austria. Wow, Joe Colasacco. That was a big win. He really had to work hard. And Marcus Pye beating Andy Middlehurst in that Lotus is not easy, as a lot of people who have tried to do it over the years will attest.
You're absolutely right. And Joe Colasacco's won some great historic races in his time, but that will go down as the best. He's been congratulated by Andy Middlehurst. What Ferrari success of the era was not greeted by a shoal of blue overalled mechanics with the Supercorti Maggiore sign on the breast. But absolutely superb. Joe Colasacco, our winner, about to receive the Garland of Victory.
Well, let's hear from our race winner.
Well, Joe Colasacco just getting the cigar ready. Now you, sir, have won. Just lots of congratulations down here, Joe. You've won some great races in your time, but, well, that was a great one to watch. Where does this one rank?
Oh, this is up there with probably number one, I would say. Ferrari winning here at Goodwood. We've had such a hard time with this car. This is a hell of a class to run in. There's some great cars here, great drivers. Andy's one of the best here. And I'm just so happy for the car owner, Larry Oriana, here. It gives me the pleasure of driving his cars. And his wife, Irene.
Well, there's Larry. Yeah, more congratulations. Well, just talk us through that race, because you were quick on one bit of the track. Andy seemed to have an advantage elsewhere, particularly coming into Woodcote at the end of the lap.
Yeah, it was difficult because he was fast in all the right places, and he's crafty. He put his car right where it belongs. He was driving really clean, but I was able to get a few times a good run down in Levant and got alongside of him, but I thought better of it once I screwed up the gearbox and picked the wrong gear. I would have been through, but I just thought it was a matter of time. I was hoping I didn't count the laps wrong and they were going to shorten the race, but I got to thank my crew. I got to thank the Duke for putting on such a great show and the fans here. I'm sorry a Ferrari won, but once in a while a Ferrari has to beat an English car.
Come on, Joe, we love the sound of that car. Many congratulations to you. Shall we go straight on to Andy now? Andy Middlehurst. We're just going to walk around the back of this gorgeous sounding Ferrari. Didn't we love that one, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to find Andy. Andy, listen, what a tremendous race you gave us then.
Yeah, it was, you know, at Monaco we went wheel to wheel and I just kept him behind, but I think the Ferrari's got at least 20 horsepower on us, so down the straight I tried my damnedest. I tried slowing him off down at St Mary's and they just come sailing past me twice, and then first time I held him back on the brakes, and then the second time I just couldn't hold him back at all. He just got a clear's length past me, so I think if I kept my foot in a bit longer, we would have connected.
Well, and traffic didn't help. I think it's fair to say that.
No, I got the look of one lot of traffic, and then I got a couple more where it slowed me down. Then the brakes are going a little bit at the end. I outbraked myself towards the end of the straight, but you know, you're on the limit, so you've got to push so hard because you know you might meet a back marker, and then you know you get your look of it.
Now, Andy, before you go, I've got to ask you about that opening lap as well, because not a great start from you, but then you just zip past the two guys ahead of you.
Yeah, I got too much wheel spin, and then I dropped to third, and then a lot of the drivers are a little bit gingerly on the cold tyres, and I'm not, so I just kept my foot in around the back and then got into the lead. But I knew the Ferrari was going to be a bit of bother because he had very high speeds on the sectors, so in qualifying, so you know we did our best.
Well, thanks for the entertainment. It was a great race. Let's now jump straight in with number 3, John Milicevic. Well, you saved the best till last, John. What a last lap. What a race.
I am absolutely over the moon. It's a 4-cylinder car. It goes like stink, and I wanted to be on the podium for Alan and Bob. They've worked like Trojans all weekend, and I'm so proud to be there with them.
You look so emotional too. I mean, it really means a lot, this one, doesn't it?
It really does. It's the first time in a Formula 1 in the dry here. We hadn't really run in the dry until Friday, and we put it on the second P2. It was overwhelming, but I'm so pleased and proud.
Well, we're very pleased for you. Well done, John. Thank you, everybody, for a great Glover trophy.
Yeah, you saw in the white overalls Bob Dance, the great Lotus mechanic, still working with Clive Chapman's classic Team Lotus, down with Andy Middlehurst, the man who claimed pole by such a big advantage after putting together a perfect lap, but couldn't quite hold off Joe Colasacco. A Ferrari win. Was anybody disappointed? Not after a race like that. Maybe not even Andy Middlehurst. He'll come back and try again. And John Milicevic with the LDS on the podium in third. Tim De Silva, Richard Atwood and Ben Mitchell rounding out the top half dozen. And then Martin Stretton and John Clark 7th and 8th, ahead of the fast climber Enrico Spaggiari. Andrew Beaumont rounding out the top 10. Sid Hall was 11th, ahead of Michael O'Brien, Dan Collins and Richard Wilson. Andrew Waring's BRM in 15th place, ahead of the BMC Cooper of Chris Helliwell in 16th. Franck Triard in the 21-24 Lotus, the Frenchman in 17th, ahead of Malcolm Cook. Jason Wright in the Derrington Francis, Al Francis's own car. Federico Berardi rounding out the top 20, ahead of Harindo De Silva in the first of the Scirocco's. Michel Jange and Nick Fennell ahead of Rob's Lampslow. Rob's in the Lola Cosworth T60. And there were a couple who struggled to make it through to the end, including the Scirocco of Paul Woolley. James King pulled off in the front-running Brabham. Eric Stays, Sam Wilson and Alex Morton also failing to complete the race distance. 15 laps and the Ferrari leading only the important one. The final couple of laps for Joe Colasacco, our winner. Andy Middlehurst dominated qualifying for the Glover Trophy in his Lotus 25. John Milicevic made a great start from middle of the front row, so did James King from the outside. But bravery on cold tyres allowed Andy Middlehurst to spear through into the lead, and he was soon being chased by the Ferrari of Joe Colasacco. Colasacco had to try time and time again to go around the outside, and finally, once it worked. But before that, Andy Middlehurst with the inside line almost lost it once and then gathered it all up. James King with trouble on the Brabham had gone off and damaged the suspension. That was the reason for his retirement, and the Ferrari kept coming back. Andy Middlehurst reckons he's 20 horsepower down on the flat 12 Ferrari 1512 for the Lotus Climax, having the inside line, and a couple of times he had an even break in traffic. Once he got away as they went around the number 2 Lotus BRM of Federico Berardi. But then in traffic again, Middlehurst held up and the Ferrari was right back on his gearbox. And Joe Colasacco knew he had to use the speed. Once he finally got his nose in front, he had enough to creep away. The sector times didn't lie, even if the qualifying lap wasn't all strung together. The final 2 of the race, he had his nose in front. Middlehurst couldn't catch him. And in the sort out for third, a last lap around the outside, Hail Mary pass from John Milicevic. And he just got the best of Tim De Silva as they charge to the line. Fantastic action yet again at the Goodwood Revival.
Through tactics, through running non-stop, full distance without changing tyres and without refueling.
Yeah, because they knew the bolt-on wheels, they would take a long time to change the wheels. I think, did he run on road tyres? Avens?
Yes, Continental road tyres, and they were worn completely to the canvas at the end of the race. Number, is that 60 there, the A-type?
That's the B-type.
Oh, that's the B-type.
Which was powered by the Alta engine. Behind it is the A-type with its Lee Francis engine, and Rob was a great supporter of Connaught, who were in Send in Surrey were always underfunded, rarely struggled with money.
In 1953, including races here, Rob with drivers Tony Robb and Eric Thompson won 16 races that year, which really set him up as a private entrant for the great story that followed.
And then Tony Roach was one of the driving forces in Ferguson four-wheel drive for cars, hence the Ferguson Climax four-wheel drive front-engine car, which is behind this Cooper, and which had one victory in period, the Gold Cup at Alton Park, driven of course by Sterling. I think it was it a wet day, Doug?
It was a damp day, it was a nasty day, it was perfect for four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But the point here is that we have a private entrant, not a works team, we have a private owners team which has given motor racing its first ever rear engine winner in World Championship Formula One racing in Argentina at the start of '58. And then in 1961 at the Alton Park Gold Cup, the same team gives Sterling Moss the four-wheel drive Ferguson, and he scores the only Formula One victory so far by a four-wheel drive car, four-wheel drive now being banned in Formula One, and also the last victory in Formula One by a car with the engine in front of the driver.
Yeah.
And here on the big screens is the Surtees from 1971, which Rob co-sponsored with Brooke Bondoxo after realising, fully appreciating that the day of the true private entrant, the gentleman entrant in Formula One was past, that the numbers, the money had just become too big.
Was it Rob that persuaded John Surtees that the car should be painted dark blue and white?
I think John offered it, actually.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
That's typical of John. Yeah, our Richmond and Gordon Trophy today really illustrated that revolution in 1958 from the glorious front-engine Grand Prix cars like the 250F, like the Dino, to the Coopers and then the Lotuses with the rear engine, which poor Enzo Ferrari rather sneered at as primitive and developed by garagistes. But of course they beat his lovely Ferraris. It wasn't fair. Enzo always was concerned about the engine, less concerned about the chassis.
Yes, as far as he was concerned, the engine was what propelled success in motor racing, and the chassis was just a bracket to hold the wheels on and the fuel tanks, and it had a hole in it where you put the man.
Yeah. Bringing up the back of the queue, two of Rob's road cars, the Aston Martin DB2 that Rob bought after he saw it successfully competing at Le Mans, and then the Facel Vega. He was a great supporter of Facel Vega, which didn't sell very well. I think he had a hand or a financial involvement in the importing, the distributorship of Facel Vegas.
How many he sold, I'm not sure, but it wouldn't have been many.
No, 3, I think, probably.
Was it? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
And very sadly, in 1968, Rob's racing workshop was destroyed along with much of his memorabilia, including actually one of the Argentine GP winning ball tyres, the Continental tyres. And it all got destroyed in a terrible workshop fire that occurred at Dorking, at their home base. But they bounced back, and just a few months later, in the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch, Joe Siffert won in the Lotus 49B which we hope to have here, but unfortunately events conspired against us.
Nor have we got, sadly, the development of the 1927 Grand Prix Delage.
No, indeed.
Which originally Rob had with the Delage engine. And in fact, when I was a schoolboy, I had a visit to Pitbrook Garage, and one of the mechanics gave me a bent Delage Conrod, which was one of my prized possessions. I don't know where it is now. But that was the car that later had an ERA engine. I think I'm right.
No, he had two Delages. One had the ERA E-type engine fitted, and the other one was the ex-Dick Seaman car.
Yes.
In which the great British driver Dick Seaman really leapt to prominence during the 1936 Voiturette racing season.
And Dick Seaman was very perceptive. He saw the Delage and thought with Ramponi developing the chassis a bit, he would duff up the ERAs.
And he did.
He did,
yes. He was all over the ERAs like a cheap suit, as they say. But his successes that year earned him his factory drive for the Mercedes-Benz Grand Prix team in 37. He ended up winning the German Grand Prix in 38 and became a great British legend, just like Rob himself.
Indeed. I've just been chatting to Robbie Walker in the assembly area. It was his idea to encourage drivers of our demonstration cars to wear pinstripe suits, ready to celebrate. And he told me, I think it's been told before, maybe it'll be told on the big screen, that he was called in while he was racing at Le Mans, called into the pits, and we couldn't think the reason why. To be told that the reason he was called into the pits was that they were running dangerously short of champagne and wanted to have some to celebrate with him. Luckily, he didn't lose his place. Let's hear again from Bruce Jones.
Ahead of the final race, the meeting, the Sussex Trophy, one of the drivers who's always rising to the top, Phil Keane, one more chance to take a cigar, the Garland, and your fantastic Lister Nobly could be just the tool to do it with.
Yeah, so let's hope so. I mean, BMS have done a great job with the car, and we've had a great meeting so far. 2 seconds, so let's hope we can do one better in this event. But I think it'll be tough. I've got Sam and David Hart obviously had a problem in qualifying, so I think it won't be easy.
Yes, I think a lot of the qualifying sessions was a fair bit of oil down, so it was a bit of a lottery if you got your lap in beforehand. But this is a well-known, well-sorted car, so hopefully, knowing you're right on top of it.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. So hopefully the guys have fixed the little problem we had, and we'll see what we can do.
And luckily for you, the Ferrari's just turned up to start from second on the grid. Best of luck, Phil.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
So we are getting ready for, I can't believe we're getting there already, our final race of the 20th anniversary Goodwood Revival. It's been a feast for the ears, for the eyes, for the senses, and dialing us in to everything that we need to know to get our fashion game a little bit more. The Revival would become. The green flag waves for the final race, and the flag drops. The 20th anniversary meeting is coming to a close with the Sussex Trophy, the last race. Car number 1 beaten away from the line by Roger Wills, number 25, the Lotus Climax. But Sam Hancock in the Ferrari is second into the first turn. And immediately he's dialing in the opposite lock, and the battle behind Martin O'Connell's brutal Lister Chev Nobly in third, 92. Julian Majoub comes through into fourth. 21 is the green car of Ollie Bryant, whose Cobra failed under him when he was looking for a podium in the last race. Then 16, the D-type of James Cottingham, single stripe on the car.
They stream through. Wills, Hancock, O'Connell third. Bryant has nicked fourth place from Mazoub, the 2012 winner. Where is Phil Keane? He's still pretty much towards the back. He's up 3 or 4 places on cold tyres in the 33.
Yeah, he'll have very cold tyres. Dialing the opposite lock there. Jason Minshaw in the red birdcage, number 61, just ahead of 28, Michael Gans in his Lotus Climax. And here's the battle for third. 92 is Martin O'Connell, and he's been blitzed around the outside by Ollie Bryant as well. Bryant does not want to let a podium go, but Julian Mazoub up the inside can't get it stopped as quickly as the nimble little Lotus, though.
Fourth position for Mazoub at the moment as he comes into the chicane for the first time. Look at the lead of Wills in the little Lotus Climax. Number 25 comes over the line. I count 1, 2, nearly 3 seconds the advantage.
Yeah, we've got a car pulling into the pit lane. We'll identify that. Surely that's Martin O'Connell. So O'Connell is out, as you said, Marcus, and everybody else flying through the field. There's 31.
Here's O'Connell that's come in.
Yeah.
There you have the look into the eyes of Julian Mizube. He's chasing. Sam Hancock in second position. Bryant with the Union flag crash helmet in the little Lotus. But the leader is still running away, Martin.
Yeah, Julian Mizube can't help himself. I was about to say what he needs to do is follow Ollie Bryant through and let Bryant open the door on Sam Hancock, but Mizube overcooks it.
Hancock beautifully under control, power oversteer through here. Jason Minshaw looking like he's in trouble, washed out a little bit there, and David Hart was up alongside him very quickly in the much talkier Costin-bodied Lister. The 28 across in front is the white Lotus 15, that's Michael Gans, in the car that was raced in period by Roy Pierpoint, better known as a touring car driver, who raced here in the very first members meeting, first meeting in 1948.
Yeah, Charlie Martin in the metal-bodied car just ahead of Michael Gans.
Number 10 Lister's broken.
Well, look at the metal-bodied car just ahead of Michael Gans.
Number 10 Lister's broken.
Well, look at this. Julian Mizube just carries so much speed in. He really has to get out of that because he knows he's going to clatter into the back of the Lotus 15 of Ollie Bryant. And that cost him lots of time and ground. My money right now is on Ollie Bryant catching and passing Sam Hancock, and maybe even on this lap. The gap first to second, 4.5 seconds. The gap second to third, 0.4 of a second.
Nothing wrong with the speed under the right foot of Julian Mizube's car. 150 miles an hour on the way into the final corner at Woodcote. That is cracking on.
Well, this is the battle for seconds. The red Ferrari, Sam Hancock. The green Lotus, flying the flag for Britain and Colin Chapman. And that is Ollie Bryant. And then Julian Mizube behind him in the brutal Sadler Mark III with its Chevy engine.
In the meantime, remember that we saw, starting from the pit lane, Phil Keane. Phil Keane is trying to make his way back through the order. At the moment, he's in 16th position.
Yeah, he's got ahead of John Young in the number 36 car, so he's ahead. And there he is in the background, the green and gold. The Lister Nobly with its Jaguar engine. So, well, he's had some Jaguar action, I've seen a couple of E-Type races, and here is the battle for second, and down the inside comes the Lotus. Not enough. The Ferrari's still got the grunt in a straight line over the climax in that Lotus, but the Lotus may be a little bit more nimble. The leader is down and gone. Cleared off Roger Wills in his Lotus 15.
Yeah, that Ferrari's under big pressure, Martin. You said it a couple of laps ago. Ollie Bryant now in the slipstream. He's looking one way. He's going to go around the outside. Well, that's quite going to work. Will he get a quicker exit as he comes out of Madgwick?
Well, the great thing about the big screen and the high mirror in front of Sam Hancock is you can see him take one, take two, take three looks in the mirrors. And inside the Cooper Monaco of Justin Mears, that is a change for 11th place for Phil Keane.
5 places in the lap there.
Could he finish on the podium?
He could indeed. He could indeed. He's got some gobble-ups from small cars
Hasn't
ahead
he,
of him.
though?
Well, it's a big car to gobble.
Yes, there's a lot of gobbling going on there. And right in front of him is now car number 26, which is another Lotus. And that is the dark car of James Wood, owned by Karina Laumann. Whoa, and Phil Keane just stepping on the loud pedal. The Jaguar kicks the car sideways, but he's got it all under control. And he moves up another one. He is now into 10th place.
Number 10, Ewan Cameron car's pulled off between St Mary's and Lavin.
Going side by side as Ollie Bryant trying to go around the outside into Woodcote corner. And they almost touched, but he thinks the better of it. There was nearly red paint left on the side of the little car, and Sam loses time, but he keeps it all together. There's no chance. He's scrapping through the chicane. And look how close the little Lotus was to the left-hander, the second part of the chicane, but he's not as close as he was last time around.
Yeah, the Ferrari has got the top-end speed, but the Lotus is light and can brake later and deeper. There's not too many places where you can use that.
The bonnet's loose on the left-hand side of the Lotus, Martin, and this is playing into the hands of Roger Wills.
So Roger Wills pulling away from this battle, and Sam Hancock, watch the Ferrari get sideways, 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 just gets it back. But, you know, Ollie Bryant is going to have to be very cautious, trying to go a long way around the outside of Sam Hancock. Closing in is Julian Mizube in the white car with the blue nose. So that Sadler Chevrolet started 6th, and it was 1.9 seconds off pole, but then Phil Keane was 1.4 seconds quicker than anyone in qualifying.
Keane and Minshaw nose to tail.
Yes, Hart, Minshaw and Keane all nose to tail run past me.
Yeah.
He takes
Keane's
a position.
up one at Lavant.
Minshaw shared with the other Hart, with the other with Phil Keane shared with the other Minshaw, rather, John Minshaw in the E-types. Now he's battling Jason, and Sam Hancock again holds on just. But, you know, he's got to pitch it in there on those cross plies and just hold this line all the way through the final corner.
Tidier through the chicane this time round for Sam Hancock, with the Martini colours on the side of that crash helmet. There you have first position going through your shot. Second, third and fourth. It's Bryant. It's Hancock. It is then Bryant and Majou. Problem with our timing screens. That'll shake out.
31 coming across the line is David Hart. And he is ahead of Jason Minshaw, but Phil Keane has got in front of him and is now chasing car number 15, and that is Charlie Martin, who started 8th on the grid, and this is the battle for 6th.
Not for long though, Martin.
No, Michael Gans in the white car takes the racing line. Phil Keane knew that was coming, but Michael Gans, the white car, and Charlie Martin, the raw aluminium car, they are running in 6th and 7th, and Minshaw could end up taking both of them.
Yeah, Ollie Bryant looking meanwhile again to unseat the Ferrari down. He got very close, but here comes Phil Keane. Down the inside of Charlie Martin goes the white Lotus of Michael Gans, the X-Ray Pierpoint car. Going to squeeze through on the inside. Meanwhile, here's our lead battle.
Yeah, Ollie Bryant's chasing Sam Hancock for second. He's going to go the long way round the outside, but there's not room. The Ferrari dangles the tail way out there, far too much. And Hancock, ignoring the fact that there is a first apex, takes the second and gets it squared up for the chicane.
Look, you can see Sam Hancock with his visor open a little bit. It just shows you how much air gets forced over the top of that huge Perspex windscreen. As Brian can't get through there, you're going to have to buy a mower if you're going to go that way. Does that compromise his line into Matchwick? Here we are, we're on lap 7. Great racing again. I remind you that Wills is gone. He's bolted. He's up the road, but these are the two hounds chasing the Fox. They're 8 seconds back.
And the despairing wave of the hand. Come on, what are we going to do about this from Ollie Bryant? You know, he's got the time in the middle of this battle, but he has got frustration. He wants to chase Roger Wills, but I think the Kiwi, barring disaster,
Wills has already
is
passed
gone.
London Cook at the back of the field, lapped them as the Ferrari Lotus come through as one. Mazub still chasing in 22. He's 4th, the 2012 winner. Then it's, look at that, it's Cottingham in the big Tajiro being chased down now.
Now we've got a chance.
Keane.
Now we've got a chance.
Yeah.
Now we've got a chance. He's on the inside and he's using the back marker. He pushes him wide.
Trying to get through past the birdcage. He just manages it, and the Lotus is there, and he's boxing in Sam Hancock behind the slower car, and he does so. He's still on the inside. Through he goes. Well, Ollie Bryant had to work the traffic really, really decisively there. I'm here. I'm staying here. You sort yourself out, sunshine. He's through into second now. 8.1 seconds. 8.143. That's what the gap was from second to third last time round. I've made a note of it, so you don't have to.
He's clearing his visor, is Bryant. I wonder if there's a bit of fluid coming out of that Ferrari that he's been following for a while. Meantime, keep an eye on 6th position Keane on the left-hand side. The yellow Lister Nobly, he's done the fastest lap of the race, 125.1 on the last
Keane
circulation.
In 5th place. The cars around him are all laps. The car he's chasing as he gets, you go that side. Getting the heads up there from the number 9 car. There is Phil Keane, and he can see Julien Majoub's white tail in front of him. There's Majoub, there's Phil Keane. That's your battle for 4th place. From last on the grid, well, not from last on the grid, from starting from the pit lane, once everybody else had gone by, Phil Keane chasing Julien Majoub. Look at the angle of attack that Phil Keane took there, sweeping through the dip markers. What a drive.
Yeah, it's a beautiful drive. He's all arms and elbows at the wheel, but here out front is the ex-Bruce McLaren and Sid Jensen, Lotus 15, the ex-Goodwood TT racer. Here it comes then, Roger Wills, been a winner here before at Goodwood.
Well, Roger, what a beautiful run there through Woodcote Corner. Just created the perfect arc and he is lapping quickly. 1:26.9 last time round, almost as quick as anyone else. The person who was much quicker though, Phil Keane, 1:25.1.
And you look at the driving style of the leader of this motor race, who's 7 seconds up the road, and he's got that motor racing trick. His arms hardly move, and yet the car does the same circuit that everybody else does, who's soaring away at the wheel. Different car, I know, to this Lister. Never mind the Sadler.
Well, look at Majoub on the inside, and here comes Phil Keane, the green and yellow. He's trying to find a way through. Marks is going to be lunging down into St Mary's as he comes to you.
Rocketed past John Burton in the Alton Jaguar. And Phil Keane looks to the inside. Is there room? Yes, there is.
Even for a Lister.
Well, he was 2.6 seconds quicker than Julian Majoub last time round. That was always going to happen. Phil Keane fourth. Sam Hancock is 4.8 seconds ahead of him now. That gap will come down. The lead gap was 8.14. It's first to second, 7.14 last time round, and Bryant has not got away from Hancock, so Phil Keane is going to catch both of them. 12.25 minutes to go.
And in the background there is the Charlie Martin Lotus 15 by the looks of things over at Lavant.
Seems to have stopped. Seems to have stopped. Yeah, that fast lap of the race that we saw from Keane, 25 flat, 150.1 miles an hour. It just gets quicker and quicker down the back section towards Woodcote. He's hard on the brakes now. The nose dives down, the rear seems to come up, it dances around the chicane. There you have it, second, third, fourth, fifth, all in the same shot. Now, are the 12 minutes remaining enough for Phil Keane to go from fourth to the podium?
Just under half the race, isn't it?
Roger Wills has responded to the challenges of Ollie Bryant and Sam Hancock behind. The gap's gone out from 7.14 to 7.24 this lap, first to second. Phil Keane, though, another quick lap, 1:26.3, 1:26.4 for Hancock, 1:26.5 for Bryant, 1:26.4 for Roger Wills, the race leader. There's Roger Wills in the White Lotus. There is Ollie Bryant. There is Sam Hancock. And in the background, there is Phil Keane. Phil Keane has got 11 minutes to catch the leaders. What a race. Well, this is earlier in traffic. Julian Majoub went inside. Phil Keane had to go outside, he thought, but inside. And he slices by Majoub. The Alton Jag of John Burton presenting little problem for Keane, setting up the pass beautifully into St Mary's. Phil Keane, well, I said in the last race that undoubtedly Olivier Hart has painted himself right into the reckoning for driver of the meeting. I think Phil Keane has got to be right up there as well. There's your second place car, Ollie Bryant. Sam Hancock third in the red #1 Ferrari. Gap was 5.05 back to Keane, now 3.8. So he's taken another 1.2 seconds out of the second place battle on this lap. And I'm not sure I've ever seen a Lister so alive as that one is right now.
Fastest lap after fastest lap, it is quite something, isn't it? And this is how he managed to get past Majoub, and that gap I thought was going to squeeze, but it didn't. Majoub knew he was coming, he knew he was maybe not wounded, but just unable to keep the sheer galloping horses behind the Sadler.
It's great to watch, isn't it, as Phil Keane, who tried to cut his teeth in single-seater racing before running out of money a bunch of years ago, really found his forte in this historic sports car world.
Well, and in modern GT racing again this year for the 4th season in a row, he and John Minshaw head to the final round of the British GT Championship with a shot at the title. They've only just lost the championship lead they've held or shared from the very first day.
That's the Lamborghini. Here he comes.
And Keane, 1:24.66. That's 2 seconds quicker than anyone in front of him. This is absolutely, again with Olivier Hart, the same deal. You know, you've got a driver now who's outperforming the car and outperforming everybody else in the race.
And here we are, Marcus, beyond halfway in this motor race. The tyres, they don't just disappear like qualifiers, of course they don't, but he's just taking 2 tenths here, 3 tenths there. You know, 3 laps ago, he was half a second slower, and he's got clear space, and he's just tramping into the
He may have help here, Toby, because he has much more torque than the little Ferrari of Sam Hancock.
Trouble for Hancock as well, got held up behind one of the D-types, and here comes Phil Keane. He's now right with Hancock in the Ferrari. This is the third. Ollie Bryant was 1.9 seconds clear of Hancock. That's a lap for Keane.
Marcus makes a valid point. It's not all about the power, it's torque that wins you motor races.
Yeah. Absolutely, when you're having to joggle around in traffic and pass people left, right, centre, change your mind. He's got the run down the straight, all done.
Standing still, relatively.
So up to third place from the pit lane. Tops in.
The D-type, the D-type. Is Sam going to follow him through? Yes, he does.
Well, it's not about whether Sam Hancock gets back in front of Phil Keane. It's whether any one of those tiny little hold-ups in traffic is going to be enough to deny Keane a chance to shoot at the leader.
Is getting closer and closer and closer to Roger Wills. Up front, our race leader in 2025 being caught by 21 Ollie Bryant.
1.3 seconds a lap quicker on the last lap. Good spot.
Well, it was 8.1 5 laps ago. It's now down to 3.9. Roger Wills had stopped the rot, but Ollie Bryant pushing on harder and harder. Phil Keane last time round a mere 125.5, but the leader 127.4. The third place car is 2 seconds a lap and more quicker than Roger Wills out front. There's Ollie Bryant, there's Roger Wills just gone through shot. Top four can see each other as they go around Justin Mears.
Exactly, Martin. That top four is getting easier for our cameras to spot. All in one shot. There's your leader, the White Lotus. Then you got second place. Then you got third and fourth, Marcus.
There's your story in every camera shot.
Bryant's 137.2 miles an hour at the end of the first sector of the track, the quickest of the race. And he needs to be on his toes because right behind him, catching up, is 33, Phil Keane.
Phil Keane doing 150.4 down the Lavant straight through the second speed trap. And the Lotus doing 139 miles an hour. The leader only 138. Roger Wills' time in the lead. Well, he's had nearly 20 minutes, but will he have many more?
6 minutes to go.
Will that be enough? Exactly, guys. Will that be enough? He might need 9 or 10 minutes. Is 6 going to be enough for Keane? First, second, and now third. All in shots.
Keane again quicker on the first sector and the final sector of the lap, but not in the middle when he caught traffic. However, the gap is 1.7 seconds to Ollie Bryant, and it's only 5.0 to Roger Wills.
Will Bryant survive the lap in second place?
No, because he's going to gobble him up down the Lavant straight, isn't he?
It would seem so.
It would seem so. I think Keane's on the grass. He is pushing so hard. He has been so dramatic there, down from the entry to St Mary's, down that dip. He can't allow that to spook him, but look at this. 1 or 2 inches too far, and suddenly it's a grassy moment he's sorting out.
Brilliant. Down the Lavant straight, alongside the trees, alongside the spectators. Well, I may well be wrong that Ollie Bryant is going to hold that second place for this lap. 5 minutes remaining, but now the power is on to the little Lotus.
Barring that error, Keane would have got him there. He's going to get him down, maybe even into the first corner at Madgwick.
Yeah, might that be Roger Wills' saviour? I don't think it will be. But
I'll tell you what, we might have almost a photo finish for the final lap of the final race, and around the outside, Phil Keane sweeps past Ollie Bryant. The big Lister Nobly out corners the Lotus 15.
Fastest lap of the race, including going over the grass.
Pole time, 1 minute 24.47. Last lap by Phil Keane at 1 minute 24.43. He's under his own pole time. Is this going to be pit lane to victory? In which case, Olivier Hart, well, stand and wait. Here's Roger Wills.
A huge armful of opposite lock for Phil Keane over the camber here at St Mary's. That was fabulous car control.
It takes a lot to really wear out these cross plies.
David Cook.
Yeah, he's bailed out from a smoky car by the finish line.
Leader had a lead a couple of laps ago of 3.3 seconds. Over the line a moment ago, it was 3.6 seconds. We'll find out what the lead is. There's your leader in the white car. Then you've got the number 33, Lister Jaguar, Well, never mind Knobbly, it's gobbling up space.
Yeah.
There's a light hanging off the back of it.
The Lister Gobbly, that's a great new name. And that was definitely still around 3 seconds visually, but again with every look at the way he just carved through traffic, and Ollie Bryant just couldn't get through. So there's your lead gap. Across the line, it was 3. It is now 2 points. Oh, it's 4.3. So, now, hang a minute. Phil Keen's transponder isn't working correctly because he is definitely in second, but the screens have not reflected that. Okay, 2.9. It's under 3 seconds. We've got 3 minutes to go, and 3 seconds is the lead.
Yeah, and with 3 minutes to go, it's going to be a couple of laps, Marcus.
It's going to be a couple of laps and a few change in seconds. That may not quite pan out for Roger Wills.
Yeah, it could be a last lap of the weekend pass for victory. Whatever's happening behind Phil Keen, he pretty much doesn't care really. The diff is almost under his backside in the number 33 Lister Jag. And this Gobbly is absolutely charging after Roger Wills. And Wills is doing all he can. He's driving the wheels off the Lotus.
But is he going to catch these cars at the wrong place on this 2.4-mile circuit when it's going to get tight into Woodcote? That's right. The next question.
Yeah.
There's Stretton.
He's not going to get past them before the chicane, is he?
Do they know he's coming? Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Well,
no, they don't.
Fred Wakeman in the Cooper Jaguar.
No, they don't. They don't.
Well, yeah, he's trying to wave him through, but there just wasn't room to do it before. Martin Stretton in E2A is in front, but there's not 3 seconds, that's not 2 seconds, that's barely 1 second the lead, with 1 minute and 55 seconds to go.
Roger Wills got that traffic at exactly the wrong time for him. There you have it. We've got 1 minute and 3/4 to go in this 20-minute race, and there you have the little white Lotus and the Lister Knobbly passing Stretton. That's the back marker, and look at this. Can we see pit lane to victory in the last race of 2018 for the Revival? Wow.
Penultimate lap of the race, penultimate lap of the weekend. Phil Keen in hunter killer mode. Roger Wills not long for the lead of this race in the Lotus 15. Surely started on the outside the front row.
Wills understeered at St Mary's. That's going to cost him a bit of time. They're together at Lavant. They're now 1 minute and 8.76.
No,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last minute.
Yeah, he's through. He's through.
He's off,
And he leads from pit lane to leading the race. Unbelievable. The best race has been saved to the last one in 2018. And Phil Keen, what a drive. This is motor racing.
There was exactly 1 minute on the clock as Wills slid off over the curb on the exit of Lavant and was pounced upon by Keen.
1 minute of the 20th anniversary Goodwood Revival remaining, and a pass for the lead in huge dramatic fashion. Phil Keen, 1 to go. He gets to the line. It will be the last lap of the meeting.
The crowd applaud him, and quite right too, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the smile on these guys' faces. I'm sure he's smiling underneath that crash helmet. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. What a drive.
Well, he's not home yet, but he has tried so hard throughout this Revival meeting with John Minshaw in their cars, and again another 33 number car. This time, finally, it looks as though Phil Keen, despite what looked like disaster before the start, is going to end up with the reward for all the input.
He did win it in 2014 in the Enduro race with John Minshaw, but this is the solo one.
And what a drive it has been. I mean, he has been nothing other than utterly spectacular in this listed Gobbly. Toby, a couple of laps ago in the commentary box, just physically actually threw in a metaphorical towel. It was all over for Roger Wills. It was. Phil Keen was not going to be denied. And on the final lap of the Sussex Trophy, he leads towards the last corners.
Martin, Marcus, we've seen some motorsport in our time. Thousands of races. This has been quite breathtaking. Unbelievable.
We've had fantastic races from beginning to end.
And it is going to be the checkered flag and victory in the Sussex Trophy for Phil Keen in the Lister Knobbly. What a drive from pole to the pit lane, from the pit lane to victory. Pole, victory, straightforward. The least straightforward way of winning a race, other than, I don't know what. Roger Wills in second place. Ollie Bryant, rather, in... no, Roger Wills has got a transponder problem. Roger Wills was in second. Ollie Bryant in third in the Lotus. But what a race, what a drive from Phil Keane. I know.
Tears. That's the tears in the eyes of Nigel Morris of Valley Motorsport, who runs those cars.
Listen, if that doesn't get you emotional, I'm sorry, we need to call an ambulance for you. No wonder. Goodness me.
Wow. Why hasn't Roger Wills tripped the clock then?
Well, I don't know.
He crossed the line in front of us. He's there. He's there.
We can see him. He was there. So, and the timing and scoring will put it back in manually.
I think the computer running the timing and scoring couldn't quite believe that a car so far down at the end of the first lap could come through and win the race.
Well, he was 16th pretty much at the end of that lap, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he was 30th at the beginning of it, plus some.
The Lister Knobley gobbles up all of the cars around it.
I didn't know we ran handicaps here, Marcus.
We used to, in the early days of the revival.
Absolutely.
First few years.
He handicapped himself. I can't. That's just astonishing. I mean, if there is more of a headline race from the revival, I'm struggling to think what it is. We've seen some astonishing driving skills, some fabulously close racing. But that is the headline, isn't it? And you know, absolutely, as you said, Toby, the greatest of drama saved right to the very end of the 3 days.
Well, quite staggering. He beat his pole position time during the race on his charge to the victory. And ladies and gentlemen, give your warmest of applause to the winner of a finest motor race here at the Goodwood Motor Racing Circuit. We may well be in the 21st century, but that is racing that we haven't seen much of over the last 100 years of motorsport, wherever you are all over the planet, whether or not you've been hill climbing or at Indianapolis or Le Mans or here at Goodwood. Quite breathtaking.
Was that a case of saving the very, very best to last, or last to first, one should say? Let's keep walking to the podium, but Phil Keane, what an astonishing drive.
Unbelievable. We had the throttle stick open on the start line. We had to push him off. Start from the back of the grid. I can't believe it.
But there were some sticky moments where he had to get past bunches of cars. Then we saw him running on the grass when he was closing it on second place. But I think it's safe to say he deserves the biggest pat on back for the whole meeting.
Definitely, and he got us one. We wanted this. He's had second in everything. We wanted to win. So.
He said that before the race, and he's gone and delivered in the hardest way possible. Enjoy this evening.
Thank you.
Well, incredible stuff, and there they are. There, the scenes of jubilation. Roger Wills comes over to offer his hand of congratulations to Phil Keane. He looks totally untroubled. Bruce is down there with the winner. Absolutely fantastic. Bruce to Phil Keane.
Where do we start with that, Phil Keane? Well, you started last. That wasn't the place you really chose, from the pit lane. What a drive. You said before, 2 seconds, I hope, for a first. You were starting from pole at that point, but you made it so much harder.
Yeah, unfortunately, me and this car do have a bit of a love-hate relationship. So, you know, it always goes wrong at some point, but, you know, Valley Motorsport done a fantastic job with the car, and, you know, it's 90% of the job.
So what happened? You got to the front of the grid after the formation lap, and it just stalled?
No, the throttle jammed on. Same as the TT and the same as it did in qualifying. So I think me and Goodwood and throttles, I think we'll wait till next year till we come back.
No, you've conquered it now, but absolutely congratulations. And it looks as though Roger Wills had enough of a lead, but your last few laps, you were doing fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap. Just astonishing.
I knew I'd be in trouble, so I had to try my best. But no, like I said, the car is absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't ask for a better car from Valley Motorsport and John Minshaw, so chuffed to bits.
Plenty of celebrations, I think, coming your way. Congratulations, mate. I just move across the man who was 8 seconds clear. Roger Wills must have thought you had the job done, and then you saw eventually in the last few laps, but closing fast, that green and yellow Lister.
The boys gave me the push board and started, you know, I could see the gap closing, and then I could see the lights, and I was going, oh no, and it's Keeney. And so he drove so well, and, you know, to pull that off from the pit lane is something unbelievable. So hats off to him. What a guy.
But hats off to you. The start of the race was astonishing. You got clear on the first laps and just kept pulling clear after that. Just nailed it.
Yeah, the car was, I mean, I have to take my big thanks to Rich Purves. Built a beautiful car. The car's absolutely fantastic, and it's got a lovely Goodwood history, so it's nice to have the car back here after McLaren drove it in '58, so wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Well done, Roger Wills. So let's just find Ollie Bright, who's immediately behind. Second of the Lotuses, but a lot of racing you had to get on with out there. Fighting so hard with Sam Hancock in the Ferrari, and then the green and yellow missile, the Lister, coming through as well.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. I mean, I got a bit swamped off the start, as you often do in the Lotus, but I then got boxed in behind Sam, who was spraying oil all over my screen, so I spent a few laps trying to clear my visor. I knew I had to get past him, and finally he got boxed in a bit with traffic and managed to get through. Then I was catching Rog, and I thought, right, we're on here, and then I couldn't see much because of the oil on my visor, but I saw on the TV screen that Keeney was catching, so I knew I had to keep my foot in, and yeah, it was fantastic. You know, I would have liked it to have been a few laps longer, but there was no stopping Phil in the Lister today.
Well, I'm sure it was enormous fun. It made amazing television, great viewing for people here. What an end to the 2018 Goodwood Revival. And tough luck in the previous race. You have good luck and bad luck here.
Yeah, I certainly do. So let's hope next time we have a bit more good luck and finally bring home the win in the Cobra.
Thanks very much. Ollie Bryant, well done. Third place.
Thank you indeed, Bruce Jones. Well done to our two other podium finishers, but what a star drive by Phil Keen, and he really has put himself very firmly into the running for driver of the meeting. Jammed throttle meant a pit lane start, and basically looked like he jammed the throttle wide open all the way through the race. Fastest lap after fastest lap. The end, he was faster than he'd even qualified the car to catch the leader with 1 lap to go of our 25-minute Revival closer. Yes, no wonder there was a tear in the eye. That was truly epic from Phil Keen. So Phil Keen, the Lister Nobly, winning from Roger Wills and Ollie Bryant in their Lotus Climaxes. Sam Hancock doesn't add another victory in the Ferrari. I think Bruce was setting him up for a fall early on. Julian Majub in the Sadler, little wayward, but 5th ahead of Tajero Jag of James Cottingham. And then another Lotus Climax, Michael Gans in 7th place ahead of David Hart in the Costin-bodied Lister Jaguar. In 9th place, Jason Minshaw in the family's Birdcage Mazda. James Wood rounds out the top 10 ahead of John Young in the first of the D-Types, his long-nosed car ahead of the Scarab of Olivier Ellerbrock. Martin Stretton was 13th in E2A. Freddie Wakeman 14th in his Cooper Jaguar. Cooper Monaco of Justin Mears 15th ahead of John Pearson's D-Type, and Stefan Siegler's similar car, the Alton Jag of John Burton 18th, Joe Twyman's Cooper Monaco in 19th, and the Lister Nobly of Christopher Lund in 20th. David Cook, Charlie Martin, Malcolm Gammons and Max Werner. Well, Max Werner ended up in the pit lane, and there were a few other cars that didn't quite make it all the way through. But a fantastic end to the meeting. Well, we knew we were in for a great race because everything pointed towards what should have been. However, didn't really expect it to feature Phil Keen when he put his hand up at the end of the formation lap. Problems meant he'd be in the pit lane at the start. Sam Hancock and Roger Wills, Ferrari versus Lotus, away from the line. Good start from Julian Majub from the 3rd row of the grid meant that he be a contender, and a push start for the number 8 car at the back. Rejoining at the tail of the field was number 33, Phil Keen. While Ollie Bryant and Julian Majub were duffing each other up for 3rd position behind Sam Hancock, and all the battling with the Ferrari allowed one Lotus to get clear, and that was Roger Wills. Ollie Bryant eating the dust and indeed the oil of Sam Hancock's 246S Dino, as Hancock oversteered his way around, perhaps even on his own oil. It took Bryant a long time to get through, all of which was allowing Roger Wills to escape. Fabulous sights and sounds of the Sussex Trophy field, a big bang of 50 sports cars. Eventually, a big ballsy move from Oliver Bryant shut the door on Sam Hancock. He was through and chasing the leader, but Phil Keen, coming from the back of the field, he had other ideas. Got by Julian Majub to move up into 4th place, and then reeled in Sam Hancock. The Ferrari didn't have the torque of the Jaguar engine in the 33 Lister Nobly, and in the end, it put up little resistance as Keen in the Gobbly just ate him alive. And then we were down to the last handful of laps. The two Lotuses were closing. Ollie Bryant reeling in Roger Wills. Was the grassy moment the sign that Phil Keen had run out of tyres?
He did the fastest lap of the race when he was on the grass, Martin. Incredible.
Other cars fell by the wayside, but Keen kept up the pressure. getting by Ollie Bryant and setting sail after Kiwi Roger Wills. And with 2 laps to go, he was hot on the leader's heels. And on the penultimate round, Goodwood's motor circuit, he was with the Lotus. Going by Martin Stretton in E2A, proved no problem. The traffic fell well for Phil Keane, and a mistake by Roger Wills trying to keep the Lotus in front on the penultimate lap allowed the Lister Nobly through. 1 lap to reel it off before the checkered flag flew, and victory for Phil Keane from the pit lane. A star drive to round out the 2018 Goodwood revival with victory in the Sussex Trophy. What a drive, what a driver.
Here they go then, off on the green flag lap. Orange car is an Lexus down there, and that is Stuart Roach, who has won here in the past. You go back quite a long way with these cars, the Chichester Cup, and Dave Methley it was, local man these days, who won it in 2014 when these cars were last here, from Sam Wilson and John Milicevic, who is back in that Cooper T59. He's not raced for 3 years. John Milicevic, who's won the British Championship for Historic Formula Juniors in 2008, 10, 11 and 14, has been the Historic Formula 3 1-litre champion for the last 2 seasons.
So cars heading off for the formation lap with Andrew Hibbard heading the field markers and Sam Wilson making it a Lotus 1-2 in qualifying.
Absolutely right. Cameron Jackson, the 66 Brabham alongside. Then row 2, Michael O'Brien in the Lotus and Chris Goodwin in 7 the Lotus. Row 3 is 99 Mark Shaw with a Brabham, 61 Simon Diffie with the Lotus, and number 1 Richard Bradley with his Brabham, the black car with the red noseband, quite distinctive. Moving on to row 4 then, Westy Mitchell with the glorious Di Tommaso for the Argentinian-Italian design car. Alongside him, number 3, Joe Colasacco from the States with the Stangalini with the Fiat engine and the exhaust pipe that comes down across the top of the engine bay. 69 Stuart Roach, Orange Alexis. 80 is Nick Fennell, the ex-Ford France, Lotus 27. Then 2, Philippe Buhoffer in an ex-Midland Racing Partnership Lola Mark 5A. 79 is Pietro Vignano from Italy with his Brabham. And then 68, James Murray with the ex-Alan Reese Winkleman Racing Lola that's been repaired since it rolled at the Silverstone Classic a couple of months ago. Robert Homke from Texas and the States with his MRP Lola Mark 5A is next. 58, then 63, 4-time champ John Milicevic with his Cooper. 5 is Steve Jones, the Aviator, with his Cooper 67. 6 is Tim De Silva, young Tim De Silva with the distinctive red inboard suspended Germany Mark 4. 67, Anthony Binnington in the ex-Peter Revson Cooper, set the fastest ever Formula Junior lap record at Enna in Sicily. 127 from Australia, Marty Bullock with his Lotus 27. 57, John Sykes with the Merlin. And 117 is David Kent with the Australian Lynx. Row 10 is 8, Ian Rowley with the Lotus 22. 88, Australian Kim Shern from Melbourne with his Lotus 2022. From Virginia in the States comes Sharon Edelman, number 4, with the Brabham BT6. 59, Jim Timms, now in his 80s, with the Cooper, imported from Australia, still in that bright green colour scheme. 96 is Malcolm Wishart with his ex-Tyrrell team, Cooper BMC, a car that had hydroelastic suspension trialled in period. And at the back, unfortunately, David Innes, the South African driver, with his Lotus 27. That car, as we saw, pulled off on the outlap.
And Malcolm Wishart at the back with the Cooper, the only one I think in the field with the BMC engine.
Yeah, that's right. There's one. I think there's one Fiat engined car, the Stangalini, and we've got the BMC engined Cooper. Very, very pretty car that. Well, as a group, the Formula Juniors of this era are stunning to look at. They're very brightly coloured. They're very distinctive, and I think with 9/10 of a second splitting the top 5 of them in practice. It looks like a 5-car front row, doesn't it, there for one moment? It's going to be one cracking motor race.
Well, the final row of the grid is shaping up right under our toes. The front row are ready as well. Andrew Hibbard on pole, Sam Wilson middle of the front row, Cameron Jackson on the outside. The flag drops and away we go. Great start from poleman Andrew Hibbard. A little tentative away patch for Sam Wilson. Cameron Jackson with the orange noseband around the outside for second place. The white car is Chris Goodwin. He's looking for third, doesn't quite get it. So the front row men, 1, 2, 3. It's Andrew Hibbard, Cameron Jackson, Sam Wilson in third, and down to 5th place, Chris Goodwin.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. In 4 places, Michael O'Brien there. Goodwin and Diffie trying to go with them, but out front it's number 9, which is Hibbert. Behind him, the black and orange car. Ex-Jimmy Twisk, Brabham off Cameron Jackson, who comes around the outside of the King. That's brave. And is he going to make it happen? He's just kept it on there. Very, very well controlled by Cameron Jackson, the Lincoln property developer. And there's the 67 Cooper out of the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, the ex-Peter Revson car pulls off. Cameron Jackson had a lot of faith in his tyres there on in the opening lap. They had not got tyre warmers, they just had 1 lap.
Oh, and 96 is out as well. And that is from right down the grid. That's Malcolm Wishart.
Yeah, that's the Cooper with the BMC engine, which has parked up.
Cooper's falling like flies here, but there we go. Chris Goodwin attacking Simon Diffie, but in the lead it's Andrew Hibbert from Cameron Jackson, from Sam Wilson, and going with them, young Michael O'Brien. Next group is on the screen now. That's Goodwin from Diffie in their Lotuses. But the leaders thread their way through the chicane for the first time. And this is going to be a great trail of cars behind the leaders. An attack, looks like, from Michael O'Brien, trying to come up alongside the 3rd place man, Sam Wilson. They'll be finding their time. It's quite a long race.
Yeah, thinking better of it, I think, down into Madrick for the very first time. They sweep right through Ford Water. Now wide goes O'Brien, and they are kicking up the dirt there. Don't want to be doing that too often. Andrew Hibbert still the leader from Cameron Jackson in 66. But he's just pulled away a little bit. The battle for 3rd is the one that's really got everybody's attention, though. Sam Wilson with that lurid blue and green helmet. And Chris, as they come to you, Michael O'Brien in the blue and white car still attacking for 3rd.
Yeah, here at St Mary's and into the Lavant. Andrew Hibbert still, it's very close together. Swarm of juniors, all taking a nice line through St Mary's.
I saw in the background that Mark Shaw had come up, I think, into 6th place. He was 7th over the line, but Mark Shaw, who with that hastily repaired car.
Yeah, there he is.
Here he is, ahead of Diffie. Behind Diffie is looks like is that Bradley? I think it may well be in there.
Yeah, Richard Bradley in 8th place, and a challenge here for the lead, but on the outside again.
Oh, and Sam Wilson goes really wide, the great circle line through Woodcote, and he's rejoined in 4th.
O'Brien went straight through without having to try and make the pass. He put the pressure on, and you're absolutely right. Wilson went out wide.
Hibbert so strong out of the number 80. That's that's Nick Fennell with the ex-Ford France Lotus 27. Both Lotus 27s gone in this race.
And he was in 11th place, and it looks like he's parked in the middle of the track, so there will be vigorously waved yellow flags for the leader. Cameron Jackson chasing hard. But it is still car number 9, Andrew Hibbert, the burgundy-coloured black noseband.
Cameron Jackson having a go into the right-hander at St Mary's, didn't quite make it. Now past me, they are so close together.
What a fabulous sound they make. There are the yellow flags. Marshall saying stay over to the right-hand side. You think, well, how can they possibly notice that? Well, drivers have huge spatial awareness when they're racing. You really have to be looking a long way further ahead than your car is, so they will hopefully all see that. But that car, Fennell's car, needs removing, and a safety car is out.
Not surprisingly, it's such a long train of cars. It gives the marshals very little time to clear an obstruction like that. And here they go then, down they come then along straight. Cameron Jackson has seen the flag. He acknowledged the yellow flag, and the safety car board will be out at that point. So it's all breathe again, reunite the crocodile.
And there's something you don't see in modern racing, because you can't get your hand out of the cockpit, but the traditional signal for drivers, hand out of the cockpit, I'm slowing down, either with a problem or because I know I've seen the flags. Well, a little bit of contact there, I think, perhaps. Hard to see exactly how that started, the way that it finished.
The rear wheel's got a bend in it, the rear wheel rim.
It ended with Nick Fennell's Lotus 27 at the side of the road and stalled. It's been recovered now, though, so once the field have closed up behind the safety car, we'll be ready to release them, but there needs to be a wave through there.
Behind, yes, that's the octogenarian Jim Timms, who's been racing in Monoposto for donkey's years with his family. Several Timmses have been competing there, but here is the race, the lead group, all reunited.
But for his sake and for everybody who's going to be sitting behind him, they need to wave the number 59 car through, that T59 Cooper, the bright green car with the blue stripes. And I'm sure that race control will be on the blower to the driver of the Porsche safety car, going, try and wave him by, please.
Yeah. Wesley Mitchell had a couple of big moments in practice in the Di Tommaso when he had a grabbing front brake caliper. He's pulled his way back up into 8th place. He's ahead of Joe Colasacco. The Di Tommaso, designed by the Argentinian, he was Italian domiciled later years, Alejandro Di Tommaso, who brought us things like the Mangusta and the Pantera road cars. Interesting car, the beautiful red and blue car there. That's Wesley Mitchell. That's a semi-monocoque chassis.
I think Nick Pennell's car is well out of the way, so maybe the lights will go off on the safety car.
There is one Lotus 27 still running, of course, and that's Marty Bullock's. I saw there 127, Marty Bullock from Western Australia with his Lotus 27.
Well, now they've waved by Jim Timms, so they now have the leader and the rest of the field in order, and Timms will be beetling off around the circuit as fast as he can to try and catch the back of the queue, but they're not ready to release the cars behind the safety car, so they'll have to go round, I think, for another lap.
That Bullock Lotus we saw, the 127, was raced by Australian Lotus importer Leo Gagan, and later by Glyn Scott, whose son actually did some Formula Ford based here at Goodwood. But the 1965 Porsche 911 leading them round. You can see the sharp-nosed Stangalini Dolphin.
Can't imagine what that was designed after, can you?
No, exactly, exactly. That's Joe Colasacco from the USA Fiat engine car. Here we go away from the start again. Rocket-like start from pole from Hibbert. There's one or two good starts from down the order as well. And you can see a little bit out of shape there was Chris Goodwood on the acceleration. He changed up a gear, but Jackson on the outside with the Brabham, made by Motor Racing Developments, the company founded by Jack Brabham and Ron Toronac. And the first one was called an MRD, but you couldn't market it as an MRD in France. It sounded like something nasty. So they went back to the Brabham name for the production cars. And the BT2s, BT6s, there's that little touch around has gone the 80, which was Nick Fennell. One of the cars close to that was the orange Alexis, which was the car of Stuart Roach, number 69 from the New Forest.
Well, it's such a packed field. You know, the cars are so small as well. They can easily go 3 and 4 wide, and with no aerodynamics of this era, then slipstreaming is very much a
orange car, busy screen with the blue crash helmet. That is Stuart Roach. Stuart Roach, the winner here last time in 2017 when we had the rear-engine drum brake cars. He was driving the Alexis Mark III back then. Also races the Alexis Mark II in front-engine races. That's a quick glimpse there of Ian Rowley.
Fastest lap so far to Michael O'Brien, who's in 3rd place, so it's going to be a very close race when these cars are released.
That's the only flying lap we've actually had, isn't it?
And when we had safety car out in one of yesterday's races, the officials added a further 3 minutes to the race duration. This race is due to be
lights are out on the Porsche,
20-minute race.
It is going to go green. The circuit will go green at the end of this full course caution at the end of the lap they're now on.
Can't race again until they get past the start-finish line.
Yes, that'll be an interesting one, because there will be all sorts of things happening.
Streaming past us out of the chicane, won't they, nose to tail, because they can't actually get past each other. So it will be Andrew Hibbert who paces the field, and this is where a little bit of experience comes in handy.
That's Malcolm Wishart sitting at the side.
Ruefully.
Well, he's got a good viewing point. I'm sure he'd prefer to have a viewing point over his own steering wheel.
The former provost.
Indeed.
Through they go then. And
Andrew Hibbert, Cameron Jackson and Michael O'Brien are the lead trio. O'Brien in the white car with the red nose band.
They were wide awake. Hibbert threads that car so neatly through the chicane, gets on the power really early, but Cameron Jackson powering up onto the tail of the car that Brabham looked after and dives on the inside.
Yeah, makes the move early and makes it stick. That was nice and clean, and you have to have respect for each other in these spindly open wheel cars, particularly on an unforgiving circuit like Goodwood. Yeah, he was very up to speed on the opening lap, wasn't he? He was trying to go the long way around the outside on the exit of Ford Water to take the lead, but he's done it down into Madgwick first time at the restart, but it's not done for Andrew Hibbert in car number 9.
Cameron Jackson hasn't raced here before, so he's showing well, the ex-Formula Renault racer.
And one for somebody who doesn't know the circuit well. He knows where to pass on the circuit, doesn't he? That's worked well for him. Michael O'Brien in third position, car number 22, the white car with the blue noseband. That's your lead trio.
And so now we're into the 11th straight, the slip-through time. Cameron Jackson then, second place currently in the HSCC historic Formula Ford Championship with 4 wins this season. And Lola now in this Brabham. And Hibbard looks down the outside coming into Woodcote. Has he got enough to go around the outside of Woodcote? He's not quite close enough, but he might try and tuck back onto that second apex of Woodcote. So important to get that nailed up to the chicane. Not really an opportunity going in when you're that so close behind.
Oh,
and the touch, and riding up behind him. O'Brien rode up over the rear wheel of Andrew Hibbard's. He's scuffed the nose on the blue number 22. Just a touch there. It's not no real damage, but cosmetic amendment to the front of that car.
It shows how much traction Hibbard lost and why keeping momentum is so vital with the 1-litre engine. Cars might be real featherweights. Drivers probably add up to about a third of the overall weight. But here again, look, watch the red car. Drifts out wide, onto the grass, no traction. He basically stops. And O'Brien's already committed to the throttle. He's got nowhere to go and can't correct.
I saw the under tray then, that was quite interesting. But no real damage done, I suspect.
Young Mark O'Brien just briefly seeing the sky.
At a multiple spin at St Mary's.
So
Westy Mitchell, one of those guys involved with the Di Tommaso, by the looks of things, he's got going again. Yeah. One car still in the grass, Chris, isn't there?
Triggered by Mark Shaw in the BT6 Brabham, but safely on his way again.
Excellent, so no harm, no foul. And our race leader
they were disputing
Jackson.
6th place, weren't they? 99 Mark Shaw, 92, which was Westy Mitchell.
Yeah. So Chris Goodwin still just ahead of them, but just behind this pack. He's sort of leading the chasing pack, our little breakaway quartet.
I sense that Sam Wilson in the 21 car in 4th place, the blue and red car, is inching closer to them with 10 and a half minutes still to go. The 21 car, Sam Wilson.
Well, last time round, 1 minute 26.1 for Chris Goodwin, 1:24s for the lead quartet. So Goodwin and the chasing pack are not going to catch these guys, no matter how hard they battle. It's 66, Cameron Jackson, the leader, from Andrew Hibbard, the pole man.
Sam Wilson was the winner here in 2011 when these disc brake cars ran. And Michael Hibbard, father of Andrew, won here in 08. So there's plenty of family history in this race.
The leading four well spaced, going through St Mary's up to Lavant now. Andrew Hibbard biding his time, hoping to get a toe down towards Woodcote.
Well, Michael O'Brien in this quartet, the most youthful of the group. I think maybe only his granddad might have seen these cars racing in periods. Certainly his dad was much too young. And a challenge for 3rd place. Here comes Sam Wilson, who started on the outside the front row in car number 21, and he sweeps around the outside of O'Brien. And O'Brien's going, I'm not sure if he can stop from there, but it looks like he's got it under control. Out of Woodcote and down to the chicane.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know whether the tracking on O'Brien's car might be slightly damaged from that touch with Hibbard. Hibbard's car appears to be absolutely okay, and Hibbard will see in the background Sam Wilson, his old sparring partner, and Hibbard, one of the few guys to have beaten Sam Wilson in one of the straight fights at Silverstone. Dave Methley another. I think Jonathan Hughes from memory probably beat him as well. But O'Brien's tucked back into the slipstream. The McLaren GT car driver in this car entered by the...
They're very close into St Mary's, the first right-hander of St Mary's.
Fantastic battle further back. We're looking at the battle for 11th, 12th and 13th. Just through into 11th has gone Westy Mitchell in the Di Tommaso, but only by inches with the number 6 car.
And there's a problem with the Germany, unfortunately, and that's Tim De Silva going back now down the order.
Yeah, he's dropped 2 places this lap.
This is the battle for 3rd place, isn't it, with 21 and 22. Wilson and O'Brien, they've slipped back a little bit from the lead pair.
Now, Brian, you can see the tyre mark on the nose where he ran up the back of the tyre, so it would have been maybe the harshness of the landing that might have just towed out the front wheels a little bit.
Mitchell's recovering well. He's up to 11th place in 92. Robert Hopkins in there as well, the Texan in 58. James Murray in the silver ex-Alan Rees Winkleman Racing Lola. He's there as well.
Well, we're now 2 and 2. Jackson and Hibbard ahead of Wilson and O'Brien dicing for third place. Then Chris Goodwin all on his own in the white car. The green car in front of the all-white Lotus is not on the lead lap. So Chris Goodwin in his Lotus 22 with his bright orange helmet. And our leader, Cameron Jackson, is creeping away now from poleman Andrew Hibbard in number 9. And similarly, Sam Wilson is escaping the clutches of young Michael O'Brien.
Andrew Hibbard has been racing here since 2007. In fact, it's Peter Jackson's ex-Tyrrell, ex-Robert Buhard Tyrrell car that he drove to 6th place back in 07. There is Sam Wilson, that psychedelic crash helmet.
Yeah. Am I wrong in thinking Wilson Fittipaldi? Why does that make me think of Wilson Fittipaldi?
No, it's not like his.
No, it's more
like the psychedelic Martini Porsche that ran at Le Mans de Langnack.
Exactly so. So Jackson and Hibbard, last time round, 1:23.9 for the leader, the only man in the 23s. And that was his fastest race lap, 1:24.1 for Andrew Hibbard, the poleman, in the purplish, reddish, maroon, I guess, number 9 car.
They've got to work together, those the guys who are 3rd and 4th, to get back with Jackson and Hibbard. There's nothing much between them, 1.4 seconds.
Yeah, 1.8 covers the top 4. Then Goodwin was 6 seconds back and 8 seconds ahead of anybody else, so he's really stranded in the middle. What he needs to do is, quote, miss a gear and allow the others to catch him so he can have a bit of fun.
Colasacco in the sharp-nosed Stangalini Delfino, built by the Stangalini family in Italy. And there's 2 Lolas running together, the silver car of the Cumbrian solicitor, James Murray, ahead of Robert Humke, and recovering there the 2 cars that spun off out the back, Mark Shaw and Westy Mitchell. They're running side by side through Madrick. Shaw on the inside, Mitchell on the outside. Behind them, in fact, I think it's another of the Brabhams coming out. There's Buhoffer there in 2 ahead of them. In fact, Humke's behind them with his Lola. And here's a challenge then from Andrew Hibbard down the Lavant straight for the 11th time.
Cameron Jackson in 66 with the orange noseband on his Brabham BT2, just keeping the Dutch car in front. Only just keeping the Dutch car in front. Andrew Hibbard is closer and closer. There's only a 1/10 of a second between them on the last lap. Hibbard just a fraction quicker, but you only need to be a fraction quicker when the gap's a couple of car lengths. And traffic in front. That's the number 4 car. They're catching the blue car of Sharon Edelman, the Acurie Ford France ex-Joe Schlesser BT6. And the leaders have gone by. So now the battle for 3rd is going to catch her out of Madrick and up towards Ford Water. And she stays well out of the way, and through they go.
The Virginian driver staying out the side. You'll see Graham, her husband, racing during the weekend.
So still 2 by 2. Michael O'Brien on the back of his queue. I think at the moment he's content to follow Sam Wilson and see if Wilson can tow him up towards the leaders.
That's Kim Shern they're lapping, the Australian from Melbourne in his Lotus.
Keeping well out of the way, gently driving. Round they go round Lavant.
Well, O'Brien just having to put a little bit of extra corrective lock on there as he had to go wide into the corner, which of course leaves you wider still on the way out, and that's cost him a car length, but only a car length. Cameron Jackson still leading in his Brabham, dark green with the orange stripe, and then the red and black of Andrew Hibbard, car number 9, in 2nd place. And the clock is ticking away, under 4 minutes of the race remaining, so they get 2 laps after this. 1:23, that's, yeah, okay, they'll probably get a 3rd as well. Now, this is not going to be a war of mechanical attrition, Marcus. It's going to be pressure, isn't it?
A transponder problem. He's only 0.45 behind, but it looks for a while. He drops to 4th on the screen before he's reinstalled manually by the TSL timekeepers.
Well, they're all over that.
They're a long way clear of 5th place, number 7, which is Goodwood. Here's this battle between the Lolas and Westy Mitchell in 92, the Di Tommaso.
He's right behind the ex-Winkleman Racing, number 68.
With that sort of Daz flash on the number patch.
That's what I should say was 199, now 68. Great looking livery.
Wilson's has that fastest lap from lap 8 when he took the third place away from O'Brien.
Now lap 13 of the race. Just under 2 minutes 40 remaining. So
Shaw's back into the top 10 in the Brabham number 2.
Now that's Andrew Hibbert there having a little bit of a look at Cameron Jackson. And Michael O'Brien as well, just showing his nose on the inside of Sam Wilson for third. And you sense of these two battles, actually, potentially, either of them could be changing hands any moment.
Yeah, up towards Madgwick then for the penultimate time. Battle for first, battle for third. Entertaining historic Formula Junior racing here, all put together by the historic Formula Junior group, led by Duncan Ravaliati and his daughter Sarah, based in Lithuania, but here this weekend.
O'Brien perfectly poised now. He's looking to have a long run around the outside and cut back underneath. Is that going to work for third place? No challenge for the lead here as they come into the first part of St Mary's. No, O'Brien had to rethink that plan because Sam Wilson was very clear about where he was going.
Yeah, Hibbert's ratcheting up the pressure. He knows he's running out of time here to seize the advantage from circuit debutant Cameron Jackson. They go past Jim Timms in the green and blue Cooper.
Well, here's the car that was released behind the safety car. Somebody's come fluffing past us with a misfire far down the field. The leaders will catch them fairly soon, and here
down
we go.
the inside he goes into Woodcote. That's a great dive from Andrew Hibbert, and out to the outside he's made it.
Yeah.
That was a stunning move.
Well, that's ultimate respect, isn't it? You both have to give each other racing room, otherwise it's going to be very uncomfortable very quickly, and Hibbert leaps through.
But do you want to lead there on the last lap?
Well, traditionally not. The faster the circuit, the less likely you are to want to give away the toe on the final lap. Can he break the toe? To Cameron Jackson seems unlikely, and the battle for third, are we going to be looking at a last lap lunge?
And they've got cars up the road to negotiate. That's going to be tricky because the fastest quick part of the circuit, this long sweeper that keeps building momentum at Fordwater. They're going to catch them at St Mary's. It's the Lynx just ahead of them, I see. The Australian Lynx of David Kent.
Yeah, here they are.
And Jackson's dived through. Oh, and he's run wide. And he's got onto the grass. The Lynx is on the grass.
That was very close indeed, but we have changed the lead back. Andrew Hibbert back in front of Cameron Jackson. And Hibbert trying to find enough space. It got very tight indeed. And here we go again through traffic. More traffic as Andrew
going past
Hibbert
Ian Rowley. Napping Ian Rowley. Up ahead of him is the Merlin, the ex-Dennis Welsh Triple Monaco winning Merlin. Mr. Pooh, as it's known, of John Sykes. He waves out of the hand. Mr. Pooh named after a hydroplane, incidentally. And through comes Hibbert and Jackson. Jackson certainly hasn't given up.
No,
and he's back on the gearbox on the leader, but it's going to run out of time. The checkered flag awaits Andrew Hibbert. He touches the grass on the exit of the chicane, but he comes up to win the race. The absolutely fabulous win from Andrew Hibbert, the race that 10 years ago his father Michael won in a Lotus 27, and he's done it. Andrew Hibbert wins from Cameron Jackson by half a second, with third Sam Wilson, fourth was Michael O'Brien. This is the fifth place man, number 7, which is Chris Goodwood. He's had a fairly lonely time in another part, and his exhaust pipe is bent up at a bizarre angle, isn't it?
Yes, I think that possibly happened in the very first lap in the in the opening corner, perhaps, because that's been there pretty much all race.
It's like a rocket launcher. That would have stifled its power output, wouldn't it?
I was going to say, if you've only got 1 litre and you've got a bent exhaust like that, you've probably only got 800cc worth of power.
Exactly, and Richard Brandley is in 6th, Joe Colasacco is in 7th, 8th is Stuart Roach, 9th is Simon Diffie, 10th, recovering well, is Mark Shaw ahead of 92, which is Westy Mitchell, and the top 12 rounded out by James Murray. Robert Honk is next through, Pietro Vignano and Marty Bullock, who's come up well, and the last couple of unlapped runners should be Steve Jones and perhaps Philip Behofer, who has dropped back out of the lead group, and a real celebration for Hibbert. He's won here in the past in the front-engined car. Has Andrew Hibbert in 2016 in Nick Brule's Lola Mark II, and he's also won here in the 1 litre Formula 3 car. But here you come down into the back of the circuit. This is what happened to Buhofer in number 2. He had to spin the last lap. That's what dropped him down the order. I think that was that Lavin. May well be Lavin.
Fairly self-induced as well. And here is the change for the lead.
Opportunist move.
Yes.
However, it carried too much speed, didn't he? Couldn't scrub the speed off Cameron Jackson without touching the grass. David Kent in the Lynx, the Australian Lynx, Ron Toronac design car, goes out wide onto the grass.
They all got away with that. I think David Kent in the Lynx probably had just a little bit more than he could handle there with the well, the man who was the leader at that stage, Cameron Jackson,
that would have
for
made,
a couple of yards.
That would have made David Kent sweat a touch.
That was a
answer,
proper,
of course, is Lynx underarm.
proper Code Brown moment for him. So it was a lunge for the lead from Cameron Jackson, but yes, with the traffic, he didn't have quite enough roads to handle the pace with which he dived to the inside of Andrew Hibbert. So Hibbert squares the circle a decade on from his dad winning here. He wins here as well, and that was a frantic battle, and off he goes. He's off down the pit lane as quickly as he left the grid.
Talk about overjoyed.
Yeah.
In the background, in the yellow, is Sarah Mitrica, who runs the Formula Junior Historic Racing Association. Simon Hadfield's rushed over to congratulate him. Yeah. They all want it.
Well, there's nobody who's got out of a car after some of the stunning racing that we've seen without a huge grin on their face. They are so pumped up, and you can understand why.
Well, what a fantastic race that was to open day 3, the final day of this 20th anniversary Goodwood Revival meeting. Andrew Hibbert, look at him, absolutely. Oh, he's going to pick his cigar and take a... There's Cameron Jackson, splendid with that, with the hat. And Bruce is down with our race winner, Andrew Hibbert. Careful, Andrew.
This is the sight and sound of what it means to win the opening race today. Andrew Hibbert, you were fast off the grid, even faster out of the car. That meant a lot to you, didn't it?
Yeah, that was quite something. That was an intense race. It's been an intense weekend, really, for all of us in Formula Junior. But I gave that everything. That was it.
And that was a battle and a half with Cameron Jackson. You waited to regain the lead, but even on the final lap, having taken the lead, you still had to fight for it.
Yeah, I thought into there, I'll just be careful, I'll watch where these back markers go. Cameron took the opportunity, but I thought we'll have it back down the inside. So that was good, that was great, we won!
It means nothing at all, quite clearly. So if I could turn around and now speak to Cameron Jackson, who really made a fantastic race for the lead here. This was your first appearance at Goodwood. How are you so good?
Oh, I don't know. I just really enjoyed the circuit. It's absolutely fantastic. Every minute of the whole event I've just loved, absolutely loved it. I just want to dedicate the podium to my wife, Emily, as well, because she gave birth to our son, Ossie, a couple of weeks ago prematurely, and she's just been so supportive of me coming here, and I've literally had the time of my life. It's been incredible.
A really, really very, very feisty restart. You thought, right, I've got to take the lead straight down to Madgewick. You did it, but didn't quite come good at the end, but it was a super clean race up the front.
Yeah, I knew I was a bit better on the brakes into the first corner, so I thought that was my chance, and then I thought I had it, and we were quicker in different parts of the circuit to each other, and I really just didn't expect Andrew to put that move on me going into the final sequence, and he really caught me off guard.
Okay, well done. Very good debut. And Sam, you're about to run off and do another race by looks of things, but Sam Wilson, one little slip was the difference between success and failure. Fell down to 4th, back to 3rd, but I guess it's a case of what might have been.
Yeah, I made a few mistakes in that, to be honest. And the boys in front, they were not making mistakes. So, no, I missed out today, but they were going really well. I wish I could have been in there with them. It looked great fun. But, no, not today. I'll have another go.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Sam Wilson. Well done.
Congratulations to our top 3. Richard Bradley finishing 6th. And
there it is,
Andrew Hibbert.
Andrew Hibbert then, who wins it in the number 1 car. First in number 9. Then it's Cameron Jackson, Bradford 2nd. Sam Wilson, Lotus 3rd. Michael O'Brien on his debut here, 4th in 22 at the Lotus. Chris Goodwin 5th. Richard Bradley in 6th place. Joe Colasacco with the Fiat-powered Stangalini in 7th. And Stuart Roach, the Hampshireman, in 8th place with the Alexis. Simon Diffie is 9th. 10th, Mark Shaw, the Scot. 11th, Westy Mitchell. He and Shaw had an adventure. 12th, the Cumbrian solicitor James Murray with his Lola. Then Robert Homke from the States in 13th place. Pietro Vignano, the Italian, in 14th. 15th, Marty Bullock from Australia. And 16th, the aviator and aerobatics expert Steve Jones in his Cooper. Philippe Bohofer spun late on with the Lola, the Swiss. Then John Sykes in the Merlin. Ian Rowley with his Lotus. David Kent with the Aussie Lynx. Sharon Edelman from the States with her Brabham. Kim Scher in Australia with his Lotus. Tim De Silva from California with the Germany. And Jim Timms, the octogenarian, in 24th place in his Cooper T59. We've got some highlights coming up, and we could run the whole race again, couldn't we, Martin?
Absolutely. Well, a fantastic start to the day to get the blood pumping. If a cup of tea and a bacon butty doesn't do it for you, and the Formula Juniors don't do it for you, then I'm afraid you need to check your pulse quite badly. Stuart Hibbard, Sam Wilson, Cameron Jackson, the front row men made a real feast of the start. Michael O'Brien joining them. Damage to Chris Goodwin's White Lotus early on in the race meant that he dropped back immediately.
And that was the moment we saw in the background there for Sam Wilson. That there was that, I think it was a touch between the orange car, which was the Alexis of Roach, and Nick Fennell. He's absolutely all right. Yeah. Running off to the side in that beautiful Lotus 27. And there's a move, great move up into Majbik corner from Cameron Jackson.
And that was off the back of the safety car at the restart. He really restarted quickly.
And this is the part where young Michael O'Brien tweaked the back of Hibbard. Didn't put either of them off. No. Big spin there, and both Mark Shaw in the green car and the red one, Di Tommaso Westy Mitchell, went round there.
And then the decisive move of the race, Andrew Hibbard. Cameron Jackson admitted catching him completely by surprise as he sliced through the inside at Woodcote to retake the lead a couple of laps from home. Then in traffic, the Lynx offering an opportunity to Cameron Jackson in 66. He couldn't handle the pace. Luckily, not a major contact with the light silver blue car, David
Even though
Kent.
you know what's coming, you still breathe in sharply.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So our race winner, Andrew Hibbard from Cameron Jackson. Sam Wilson completing the podium in third, ahead of Michael O'Brien. Here or there. For gentlemen, very straightforward. Shirt and tie and a tweed jacket and a flat hat or a trilby, very much the go. But for women, I think the opportunities are much wider in scope. I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me in the main commentary box is Marcus Pybert. Out in the country among the threshing machines in the St Mary's Tower is Chris Druitt. And Chris, what a fabulous view you get out around the circuit here at the Goodwood Motor Circuit.
I do, Martin. There's so much to see. There are helicopters landing. There's haymaking just starting. But this race really illustrates that revolution that took place in the late 50s from the classic front-engine Grand Prix cars, the glorious 250Fs and the Lancia D50, to the little Lotuses and Coopers. Poor old Enzo Ferrari didn't like it at all. He said the garagistes, the mechanics, are beating us.
Yes. He could be very generous. He dubbed the E-Type Jaguar when it was first revealed as the most beautiful car in the world, and it's hard to argue. But yes, he was a little bit more scathing about the not so grand marks as he saw them, who came in, particularly as you said, with the rear engine revolution. This really, the Richmond and Gordon Trophies race, 20 minutes, which encapsulate that changing of the guard from the big front engine Grand Prix cars, the Maserati 250Fs, the 246 Dinos, and these pesky, predominantly British-based rear-engine upstarts, the garagistes, who essentially could do it on much less of a budget and were not part of the grandee world. And the Lotuses, the Brabhams, the cars that carried Formula One forward, Marcus, that's what we're seeing before our eyes with this grid.
Yeah, this is very much the revolution that was started out by Sterling Moss's victory in the 1958 Argentine Grand Prix. And we'll see all that celebrated in the Rob Walker celebration this afternoon. That private team that won 9 World Championship races, absolutely staggering. On pole here is that Lotus 80, and on the outside of the front row, a Lotus 16. Yes. And they were pretty good cars. Quite complicated tube frame chassis, Lotus 16s, with the sequential type gearbox. It was quite interesting.
And yet the look of them is so utterly different. One is lost in the 50s and one is the 60s. You know,
absolutely. The Coopers were ahead of their time, and that Lotus was really behind the time. Lotus went into Grand Prix racing with Lotus 12. There's the Cooper of Rod Jolly, 4 times a winner here. 1998, 2001, 2008 and 2015. Rod Jolly from the New Forest, one of the world's greatest artists in making aluminium bodies for cars. He's an absolutely staggering craftsman and a really, really good driver. That car really tricycles well, ex-works car.
And alongside him, another of the front-engine Lotus 16s in the hands of Joaquin Falk. So
well, that's Joaquin Falk, absolutely. And Joaquin, the Spaniard from Barcelona, industrialist, very versatile driver, a guy with his heart in Spanish motorsport. He's got a beautiful Maserati 250F, the ex-Paco Godia car, but here in this Lotus 16 that he's driven for many, many years. 2 Lotus 16s in the top 5. Nick Padmore, the outright circuit record holder here in the historic era. That's Ben Mitchell with the BRMP 48, concerned about getting it off the line. A car that hasn't raced for many, many years. Ex-Dan Gurney car that was hill climbed by Ray Fielding. Subsequently, I can't think of much less suitable for hill climbs, a narrow power band V8. But there you go. Others thought different. It was probably cheap at the time. There's the Super Cooper. Tom Dark, we saw him yesterday in his Bugatti, finishing down the order after an oil leak in that bug. But he set the quickest time, I think, in the early Grand Prix car race. 2 minutes to go. There's the Scarab. Dismal failure in period, but Julian Bronson, who won the race here in 2016, Offenhauser engine, Lance Revenantlow, Playboy team owner, built the team up with Chuck Daig as engineer. Cars built by Troutman and Barnes in California.
And of course that slant 4 Offenhauser IndyCar engine, that was what was available to them, in the same way that all of the British marques were Climax customers.
The Offie kind of with some of its roots in the Miller engines served them so well for so many years. There with the psychedelic crash helmet, then it's the ex-Jim Clark and ex-Innis Ireland Lotus 18 of Sam Wilson. It's owned by Sir John Chisholm. Car that Jim Clark won a Formula 2 race in, because Formula 2 races, Formula 1 races, is a question of changing the engines back then. Well, it's a classic Lotus versus Cooper combination.
And further back you saw the distinctive rear end of a Maserati 250F. Not 1, not 2, not 3. I give you, ladies and gentlemen,
didn't get away
5.
In the pale green Cooper with the red nose.
Well, hopefully he will do, right at the very back as well. Eddie Maguire in the Cooper Bristol.
No, he's changed. Big Ends went on his Scarab in practice after 4 laps on a fresh engine. So the Nuttall went back to Nottingham to fetch the Cooper Bristol Mark 1, brought it back here, and they arrived at 3:15 in the morning to do that. Oh, another of the late entries is the local man from Laverton Boxgrove Motor Club. It's the ex-Salvadori Connaught, and that is
Spike Milligan,
A7 of Spike Milligan.
Rob's Lamplugh, with the grid is full, so his BRMP 25, which he has practiced, doesn't get to race, but unfortunately Spike Milligan's car looks like it might not either. Be a bit of an effort to bump start them. So 5 Maserati 250Fs, 2 4.6 Dino Ferraris.
There's the grid. Sam Wilson, Lotus 18 on pole. Then alongside 10, Will Nuttall with the Cooper T53, the low line, late model Cooper. 26 is Nick Padmore with Max Smith Hilliard's Lotus 16, the ex-Roger Wills race winner here. 2 on row 2 is Rod Jolly, Cooper T45 51. 19, Joaquin Falk-Roussignol with his Lotus 16. The third row is 48, Ben Mitchell with a BRMP 48. 11, Tom Dark. Now we know he's relegated to the back in his Cooper 51. And 30, Julian Bronson with the Scarab. Row 4 is Tony Wood with the unique Tech-Mech Maserati. The car raced once by Fritz Doré in the American Grand Prix. 7 is Nick Adams and the Ferguson, in which Sterling Moss won the 61 Oldham Park Gold Cup. 9 is Matthias Seletsky with his Cooper. 14, Richard Wilson with his. And Tony Best in the Ferrari Dino Rep number 1. Marshall Bailey in from Dubai to drive the JBW Maserati. And alongside him was going to be Charles Gillette, Manuel Sabig Cooper, Klaus Lehr Maserati, Paul Griffin, famous Walker Cooper. 56 is Nicholas Halusa, winner on here on Friday, but now in the Monegasque liveried Maserati. Graham Edelman in his ex-works Maserati 50F, Joseph Otto Rettenmeyer in 250F, and Nigel Batchelor in the unique Keith Climax with the V8 Godiva, Coventry Godiva engine that wasn't finished in period.
Well, Mark Velvikens was supposed to be on that row, but his Aston Martin has gone lame.
Charles McCabe with his famous BRM Type 25, the 59 Dutch Grand Prix winner. Eddie Williams 250F on row 11 with Adam Lindemann with his 61 Monaco Grand Prix winning Lotus 18. Tanya Pilkington with her Rob Walker livery Cooper. Eddie Maguire with the Cooper Bristol Mark 1. Michael Milligan may go, and Lamplugh, who practiced out of session with the BRM. Did you say that wasn't there?
Well, it wasn't on the grid when we saw them go, I don't think. So we've lost the DBR4, we've lost the Ernie Lancia D50 as well in the field.
Steve Tillack.
Yeah, so shame not to see that racing here.
I think Tom Dark has fought his way back to his proper place on the grid, will he be allowed to stay there?
Well, I think if he's worked his way through the field, then they're probably not going to spend the time it would take to push him all the way either to the pit lane or to the back. I mean, he did sort of get going, so if he's worked his way through, I think fair enough. He is in his regular position. That's the red nose and the sort of pale leaf green in the middle of row 3. Tom Dark in the T51 Cooper Climax.
I think I saw the BRM joining in at the back of the grid.
I think you're absolutely right, yes, 29. Rob Lamplugh is there at the BRM P25. So, Lotus, Cooper and Lotus on the front row of the grid. Rear engine, front engine, then another rear engine Cooper, another front engine Lotus. And the Brian Johnson away we go. Very hesitant start from William Nuttall in the middle of the front row of the grid. Sam Wilson away quickly. Nick Padmore, 26 on the outside, and Will Nuttall straight down the middle.
And Wilson's broken the pole man. His hands in the air and pulling off onto the grass. Number 18, probably a transmission failure, I would think.
We got away quickly around the outside. Julian Bronson in the metallic blue Scarab up to 4th position. So he's chasing.
But it's Nick Padmore who leads at Ford Water. He's got to take the front engine Lotus down in the inside of the Cooper 53 of Nuttall. Nuttall goes back underneath him into the right-hander. So amazing. We've had several changes to lead already. Joaquin Falk is in 3rd. The Scarab is in 4th place.
Sweeping through St Mary's, the 2 Lotus 16s, nose to tail, then the Scarab.
So the front-engine cars, perhaps outclassed, but they're holding their own because in 5th place is another front-engine car. That's the Ferguson Climax P99, Nick Adams.
Drive off the line really works well.
It didn't work too badly, did it?
And Rob Lamplugh making up places in the BRM P25 already.
And number 2 coming around the outside, Rod Jolly didn't make a great start. He's got Tom Dart behind him in a pea green and red car. And Rod Jolly still trying to get by the 4-wheel drive Ferguson. We've got a couple of unique Grand Prix cars here. That car won it in the wet, didn't it, in the hands of Sterling Moss, and that's its only win. Was driven by its owner Tony Rolt, now owned by Stuart Rolt,
who drove it yesterday in the winners' parade.
Yeah. So will the 4-wheel drive and the weight of it hold against him? Car number 1, Tony Best, the Ferrari 246 Dino. The best of the grandees, and he comes through the chicane, I think, in 13th position. No, 12th place he just got up to. So it's William Nuttall who still just holds the lead from Nick Padmore, Joaquin Falk, Roussinol, with the pale blue car of Julian Bronson dropping away now, and he'll soon be in the clutches of the battle for 5th, which is number 7, the car of Nick Adams, and right behind him Rod Jolly in car number 2.
They were side by side into the first part of St Mary's.
Our leader Will Nuttall just keeping his nose in front. You can see the very different handling characteristics of the Cooper with its rear engine, lots of rear steer, and the Lotus, if you get that too sideways, it's going to take a lot longer to come back.
And they're swapping positions left, right and centre, aren't they? This is absolutely amazing. And Padmore surely is holding the inside line, going to force Nuttall to go around the outside, but Padmore, the outright historic record holder here, on the Goodwood Motor Circuit.
We've got a safety car. Safety car boards are out, so no more overtaking for these guys. They'll see the yellow flags and the safety car boards. That's Rob Lamplugh.
Rob Lamplough's BRM. I think the front looked like it was crumpled.
I don't know whether he's had contact with somebody or with the barriers. Hand out to the cockpit. Nick Padmore and Will Nuttall have slowed down. And a little bit unfortunate with that contact. We'll need to recover Rob Lamplough's car. Joaquin Falk, that's a very good question. Where has he gone? Ready to rejoin from the pit lane is the Connaught A7 of Spike Milligan. He'll be 3 laps down, or at least 2 laps down before he gets through. Joaquin Falk has dropped down the order and continues to drop down the order as cars come across the line. Not in a hurry to put 2 and 2 together, but if he's disappeared and Rob Lamplough's car looked buckled, I'm not sure how they would have come together, but they may have done.
The long and short of it is the 4-wheel drive Ferguson P99 using the Ulster tractor magnate Harry Ferguson's 4-wheel drive system is up into 3rd place. The car that after its early career went off and did some Tasman races. There is Joaquin Falk having a huge spin.
Yep. That's enough to gain his attention. Everybody else is an offstage right.
I think there must be some oil down
9
there
and
somewhere.
14, that's Siliki in 9. So it might might well be some oil down. Lots of front-engined, hugely expensive Grand Prix cars shooting off into the grass.
Was Wilson. Was Chris Wilson.
Yeah.
Just out of my sight at the exit.
Richard
There
Wilson,
is-
sorry.
We need the tree locked down a bit.
Right, Chris, I'll send a chainsaw over.
Thank you.
I think you might need permission. It might be hard to get as well. The safety car is out, and our leaders tucked up behind. You're absolutely right, Marcus. Look at the distinctive front end of that Ferguson P99.
There's the start again. You see, initially, the pole man hooked up really, really well, and that was Sam Wilson, fresh from the Formula Junior race. But then, as he changed up, something went awry. Tony Wood went down the grass in the tech neck on the right to avoid Sam. Sam just
has all the hallmarks of either stripping a gear or breaking a drive shaft, doesn't it?
There he is. Yeah. How disappointing.
We've got a number of marshals coming out at the left-hand part of St Mary's with shovels and brushes. There's obviously, that's where the oil started. Not sure where it came from.
Again, it's a 20-minute race, so the clock is still counting down. These laps count, but of course you can't add to your position. See the grey BRM there, Ben Mitchell. You were saying, Marcus, he was a little worried about getting it off the line. He was very cautious getting it off the line. He lost several places.
The car hasn't raced for decades, essentially, and it's sort of very narrow power band.
And 40-year-old clutch.
Narrow power band V8 engine. At the end of the day, he's to be very careful with it. So it's a priceless car. It's got its original magnesium bodywork. Absolutely extraordinary. There it is, 48, Type 48.
The amazing thing, Marcus, is that on the inside of that bodywork is still the original stenciled writing by the bodybuilder.
Amazing, isn't it? There's Joaquin Falk going round.
So who left the oil then? Was it him, or had somebody else already left it? He didn't look like he spun on his own oil, but
Wilson and Seletsky go off to the right.
Yeah, and they're not alone, are they? Spin there from Marshall Bailey in the JBW Maserati, and he's right in the middle of the circuit, and that's what happened to Rob Lamplow right at the tail of the field. That was a pretty firm impact with the barriers as well. So I'm afraid that BRM P25 is going to need quite some remedial work after this weekend.
Yes, I guess he caught up with the start of the oil trail, essentially. That's quite likely.
Well, once you hit the oil, the car goes where it wants, doesn't it? You have very little input.
No.
Whether it spits you off left or right is in the lap of the gods. Very much so.
There's still a lot of sweeping and shoveling to be done at St Mary's. Looks as if there are 2 streaks of oil.
The lap of the gods is a line from a Queen number.
Also a fantastic video series that came out in the late 80s, which was on board Formula One laps filmed by the Elf Petroleum Company. A whole host of drivers from the 70s and 80s into the 90s, in fact.
Remember those pictures of Jackie Stewart driving one of his old cars with all the bodywork stripped off, going around Monaco?
Well, there is all these remarkable photos that tip on, you know, Graham Hill with a movie camera basically taped onto his helmet and all these sorts of things.
We were hearing yesterday about the Eagle testing here with Burt Baldwin,
Seen
the
that
tyre
photo?
engineer, sitting on the back of it,
hanging on to the roll hoop, and yeah, no bodywork, just watching the tyre
presumably
squish.
with a kind of a safety helmet and harness.
Yeah, presumably.
Yeah, the King's New Clothes version.
There's the 250F with the Monaco.
Yeah, that's the
natural
old
paint colours.
Andre Testu car, isn't it? In that colours. Looks very strange in white with the red stripe, but great to see it kept like that, not put into another red one.
Yeah. And then a little further back, the Shark-nosed number 4 car. That's Joseph Otto Rettenmeier. That's another 250F, but
the Rettenmeyers have the most magnificent collection of principally Maseratis, but Oscars as well, and they're regular supporters of this event. And number 3 from the back, just over the circuit perimeter at Lavens, is where Michael Milligan lives. Retired gynecologist, used to race at MGAs back in the day.
Stays with the A. That's a Connaught A series. See, there's still quite a lot of cement dust down, so the marshals have to work before the queue gets to them and afterwards. As you can see from the pictures, great viewing opportunities, not just down the main straight from the grandstands here, from the grandstands out on the Lavant Straight, but you can walk all the way around to St Mary's and have a fabulous view there. White flags means there's a slow-moving vehicle and you can catch a wagon behind the tractors as well. Into the pits came the number 22 car.
That's Adam Lindemann with the Lotus 18 that won the 1961 Monaco Grand Prix, driven by Sterling Moss with the sides taken out of it.
No need for that today, and no need to weld it on the grid either.
Coventry Climax FPF engine, 1500cc by 61, of course, when the Formula One regulation has changed.
Sam Wilson getting a tow, taking the opportunity to get a tow back to
that was a slow-moving vehicle. So we're changing plugs and we're fiddling with the carburetors. I'm sensing a misfire might be the problem here. That's as far as my mechanical input goes.
It's going to blow the jets out in the top of that. It's a Weber carburetor, twin choke, pair of them on there.
So twin plug head.
Pop the plug leads back on, hopefully in order. Tends to mask a problem, doesn't it? Yeah, mask the solving of a problem. Yeah. Today's mechanics is sort of probably plug in a computer and says no. They can't fix it.
Exactly. Well, you know, exactly,
the man from Del Monte says no.
Exactly, as you said, Mark, is blowing out the jets of the carburetor.
Doesn't taste too good, does it?
Well, you know, if you don't end up a day smelling of petrol, then did you ever actually work on an old car? I have to say, this is an awful lot nicer condition than any old car I've ever had to work on.
Just think where the world of race engine tuning and road engine tuning would have been without Eduardo Weber and his enterprise.
Well, between him and Skinner's Union,
they're made in Spain these days. The Webers, they were obviously Italian.
So, if you were a European car manufacturer, you use Weber carburetors. If you were a British-based manufacturer, predominantly they would have been SUs.
Sounds as if the engine has started again.
Going to now he fires it up. Of course, there was the not just the side panels removed. This was the car that was welded up with a crack on the frame on the grid, wasn't it, at Monaco?
That's Gary Pearson, the winningest driver in revival history with 12 wins, who's done that work on the car.
I'm going to say that is a word. I know that lots of people argue with it, but
it's a bizarre word, isn't it?
It is a bizarre word, but it serves its purpose. So you know that's what the English language is for.
Yep, it's flexible.
Well, let's hope that the Lotus is feeling a little more flexible.
Sweeping has been done.
In the colours of Rob Walker, of course, and that reminds us that the Rob Walker Tribute Parade will be on track today, and that will be at 10 minutes past 4 with a whole host. In fact, get down to the paddock behind the circuit in the behind the collecting area. All of the Rob Walker racing cars are down there, and it's just a breathtaking array. You see a lineup of them and you think, wow, what a fabulous collection of cars. Walk around the corner, oh, hang on a minute, there's a whole garage row full of them as well.
You've got the 58 Monaco Grand Prix, we've got the 58 Argentine Grand Prix winning Cooper.
You've got Slow Blues BRM on the back of the truck. It has something.
Yeah, no, there was no question.
You've got the later Cooper, which won the Monaco Grand Prix. You've also got the 60 and 61 Tourist Trophy winning Ferrari 250 GT Berlinettas, the short wheelbases, both of them here.
One with radio to listen to the commentary, one without.
Yes. And then you've got the 61 Monaco winning Lotus 18 as well. But they're still warming their tyres, one or two of them trying quite hard. So the BRM Type 25 is on the low loader. I'm afraid it's in truncated form now with the barrier. It's Nicholas Alusa, winner of the Kinrara Trophy race on Friday with Manuel Pirro.
Fabulous looking device, the 250F. As I said, not one, not two, but 5 250Fs on the grid.
And there's a whole family of cars, really, from the early from kind of 54 onwards, weren't they? The 250Fs. They did evolve. They're always called 250Fs. and a couple of them ended up with V12 engines, but I think they've been taken out. And there was sort of the Piccolo version, so sort of the slightly smaller profiled cars.
It's funny, isn't it, how many of these cars, when they were just an old racing car that was no longer competitive, you couldn't take anywhere before historic racing existed, were hot-rodded and American V8s and all sorts of stuff put in.
Joaquin Falk is still running, I'm glad to see, after his huge
He had a lurid spin, didn't he? But he did come back on. He's right at the tail of the field, just ahead of Spike Milligan.
Making ground is Eddie Maguire as well from the back, with the Cooper Bristol place of the programmed Scarab.
5 minutes remaining, and I think the lights should go off on the safety car this time round.
It would be lovely to get 2 or 3 more minutes on this, like the previous time we had a safety car at the end of yesterday.
Great helmet, Eddie Maguire in the Cooper. Cooper Bristol is that very upright car towards the tail of the field, which has got the checkered noseband, and Eddie has got period goggles spray painted onto his helmet.
And let's not forget that for 2 years, in 52 and 53, the World Championship was run for 2-litre Grand Prix cars, essentially at kind of a Formula 2 spec cars. And the Cooper Bristols, which took people like Mike Hawthorne up to their pop. Mike Hawthorne, the first British world champion.
Such a usable car, wasn't it? I mean, Hawthorne, period pictures of Hawthorne in a Cooper Bristol. He's by no means the only one on any grid that he was on either.
And they were pretty sturdy things with that straight-six Bristol engine derived from the pre-war BMW unit.
And of course, that engine wasn't just a racing engine, it powered so many AC cars as well. 22 is back in, I'm afraid.
I raced a Cooper Bristol for a couple of races at Donington in way back, 1981.
Every time I see a Cooper Bristol, I think of the Rover Special as well. Which,
Frank Lockhart.
Exactly, which I haven't seen in a long
car.
while. Now, I haven't done an awful lot of historic racing. Is that still around and about?
I haven't seen it for a number of years.
Yeah.
It was developed by Spain King and a bunch of guys at the factory, wasn't it?
And
Frank Lockhart drove it for
dissimilar
donkey's
looking
years.
car in that sort of upright and high engine bay look.
That's right. Well, Nick Padmore continues to lead, having just got the better of young Will Nuttall, who's a historic Formula Fordster.
So we've got front-engine Lotus ahead of rear-engine Cooper Climax, and then we've got the four-wheel drive Ferguson. So
you've got a whole,
and then the Scarab with the Indy engine. You know, the top 5 has got as much variety as you could want in any race.
What you've actually got is a bunch of Formula One bit part players from the front engine era that have moved up and they're batting above their weight these days, chasing a Cooper T53 at the time that Jack Brabham and co would have driven.
Now, is it a factor of the circuit being essentially long, fast sweeps with very little short nudgery stuff that doesn't allow the mid-engine cars really to extend their advantage?
I think that there's actually a lot of other mid-rear engine cars that could be there pushing down the order. I think the whole purpose of this race is to showcase this revolution in Formula One and to give the guys with the quicker front engine cars an opportunity to be up there on the podium, and away we go again then. Nick Padmore never slow to get into his stride. Fifth place is Rod Jolly, 4 times a race winner in Richmond and Gordon history here in the number 2. Watch that, the Cooper with the work stripes over it. Right behind him is the Tech-Mech. There was the Ferrari we saw.
Tech-Mech's come on well up the grid as well.
Big Scarab Ferguson battle shaping up.
Yes.
Never thought you'd have said that in period.
Into the right-hander of St Mary's. There's the Ferguson being chased by the Scarab.
So the four-wheel drive Ferguson with its Climax engine, the Scarab pale blue car with the white nose with its Indy-style Offenhauser engine right behind, and coming in down underneath, kicking up the dirt is second place Will Nuttall. The lead 2 are gone, aren't they? And the Ferguson dripped out wide on the oil. The four-wheel drive didn't help when he got on the slippery stuff.
So Tony Wood in the Tech-Mech has nudged past the Ferguson.
Yes, the Tech-Mech designed by Valerio Carlotti, fallen out with Maserati. It's the ultimate kind of evolution of a 250F theme. It's independent suspension, it's disc brakes, it's a very shrink-wrapped chassis. It's not the prettiest thing in the world.
Purposeful, perhaps.
Seems to have some fairly hefty anti-roll bars on it these days.
Yes.
That Fritz Doré didn't get to use in the American Grand Prix.
Rod Jolly is threatening the Ferguson.
Yes, he is. Car number 2, Rod Jolly. And he should be able to exploit his nimble Cooper. Under braking, the Ferguson will be strong under braking with that four-wheel traction and again under acceleration. Race leader Nick Pemble, car number 26. Behind him, Will Nutter. They're gone. The battle for third now. Are we going to have a Scarab on the podium, or is it going to be a Tech Mech? Equally unlikely, both of them. We've had 3 minutes added to the length of the race, so they've still got 6 minutes 40 to go. That should give us another 4 laps, perhaps. And here is the four-wheel drive Ferguson under real pressure. Car number 7 from number 2, Rod Jolly. Jolly's got the run down the inside. Can he exploit it? Well, the Ferguson is the one there who would do better on the grass, or less worse, let's say. But the BRM P48, car number 48 is in
Mitchell's
there
gone
as well.
with him in the BRM, number 48.
They've
Gone
all
with
gone
Rod
through
Jolly.
on the inside, I'm afraid. So the Ferguson four-wheel drive car was railroaded there, hung out to dry in NASCAR parlance on the outside. And Tom Dark in the pea green car with the red nose, he's getting himself into the action as well. At the restart, he was 12th, so he has leapt up the order very quickly away from the restart.
Yes, Dark, who qualified 7th quickest, battling now with Ben Mitchell in the BRM. Ben Mitchell, who leads the historic Formula 4 Championship this year, 6 wins in a Merlin Mark 20.
So Tom Dark now up to, well, into the top 8. I think that puts him into 7th position.
That BRM's only got one rear brake, the cheese cutter brake at the back, so probably not as effective under braking as Tom Dark's Cooper.
Yes, on the back of the transmission. It's really bizarre, isn't it?
You can see it through the rear end of the car, the round brake disc with the caliper on the driver's left-hand side, and the Tech Mech sweeps around the outside of the Scarab. Is that a sentence that would ever have been said in period? That's the change for 3rd place, and that probably wouldn't have been said in period.
Dark hasn't got a transponder going, I wouldn't think, at the moment, because well, I can see him in the back of the picture behind Rod Jolly. He's not being shown, but he is there. Not anonymous. Tom Dark is the red and green number 11.
Rather wrong mostly on our timing screen. It's got a little exclamation mark alongside.
That's because they can't pick up that. They know he's there, but he's actually up into 6th place.
So fastest first sector of the lap from Nick Padmore, the race leader. Fastest speed behind him, though, from Will Nuttall in 2nd place. The battle for 3rd continues to be
Hocking
dropped.
Falk in the pits.
Falk is in, so he may have more of an issue.
Looks to me as if Rod Jolly was getting back towards the Scarab Tech Mech battle.
Yeah, Rod Jolly is closing, and he's not on his own, is he? I think the BRM car number 48 is going with him, and Tom Dark is as well. Tom Dark in that queue.
Do you remember years ago there was a tussle between Wood in the Tech Mech and Bronson in the Scarab. Bronson touched the back of the Tech Mech coming down into Woodcote Corner. Knocked the nose off the Scarab, but still won the race.
Scarab losing traction on the grass. Sweeping by is Rod Jolly. Sweeping by 2 is Tom Dark, number 11. He goes down the inside of Rod Jolly. Battle under braking between the 2 Coopers, and it just about works itself out in Rod Jolly's favour. 4th and 5th, and the Tech Mech at the moment in 3rd, but it's not escaping, Marcus.
Julian Bronson battling in there, 4 times a winner in the Grand Prix Historique at Monaco in different ERAs. But saddling this Scarab he's run for the last few seasons. That's a team spare from back in the day.
Fabulous looking cars, weren't they?
There's Wood.
Not something you could accuse the Tech Mech of being, I'm afraid. Looks that only a mother could love.
And look at that, Rod Jolly into the slipstream, a locking brake for the Tech Mech ahead of him, and Rod Jolly in the number 2. He would like to have 3rd place out of this. He tricycles that Cooper beautifully, an ex-Brabham McLaren team car, and on the Lavant straight he tweaks up to the right-hand side of Tony Wood. Tony Wood, a regular winner here at Goodwood over the years, but
Tony Wood got the legs on the Cooper, hasn't it?
He's bold. Tony Wood as well, based in Scotland.
Ferguson is slowing. He's got a problem.
Yeah, Tom Dark's in behind, and Ben Mitchell on the back of that group. So it's Padmore from Nuttall out front at 10 laps.
And the fastest lap last time round from Will Nuttall in 2nd place. The leader's doing a very low 1 minute 24s, 24.2, 24.3, and behind them 1 minute 27s for the next chasing pack. And the Tech Mech is still in 3rd place. The big upright car number 21 of Tony Wood, started 9th on the grid, and behind him Rod Jolly, car number 2, and car number 11 with the bright red nose of Tom Dark.
Yeah, the leading pair very close together, exiting St Mary's.
Tom Dark losing ground. They're having a look at Rod Jolly, and that costs him because past goes 48. Ben Mitchell in the grey BRM P48.
Yeah, Tom Dark, who's the stealth bomber on our timing sheets, isn't he?
Yeah.
You can't see him. And Ben Mitchell closing up on Rod Jolly, and getting more and more confident in the BRM's handling. Super driver from the Cotswolds, 25 years old.
Very different looking car from those around it, and here comes Tom Dark. He whistles the Cooper up the inside of the BRM.
In a lap, Milligan in the Connaught, Spike Milligan.
Yeah, he stays
Ben
out
Mitchell's
the way.
so rapid around the outside. You can see he races cars, single-seater cars regularly. He's got the confidence to come around the outside of Tom Dark into Woodcote. That's twice he's overtaken Tom Dark on this lap.
And I tell you what, Rod Jolly's not safe either in car number 2 for 4th place. At the moment, this is looking very good for Tony Wood in the
Lindeman's Lotus alongside.
Yep.
Onto the last lap now by the looks of things.
I think the leader's well around.
Tom Dark's got back up the inside of Ben Mitchell.
Yeah.
Tom Dark's got more grunt with the Climax powered car than the BRM.
Fabulous battle going on here. Tony Wood in the upright red Tech Met car number 21. This is for 3rd. Rod Jolly car number 2.
Nuttall's got the lead meanwhile.
So he has. He's got ahead of Nick Padmore.
And down the inside into Fordwater and St Mary's.
How's that going to work? There's a slow car in front, and it stays well out of the way. So Rod Jolly is through into 3rd. Tony Wood 4th in the Tech Met. Tom Dark 5th in the green and red Cooper.
That was Tanya Pilkington staying out of the way.
And the leaders on the last lap, heading down through traffic into the final corner.
Looked at Tony Wood was having a dive on the inside of Lavin. Let's see if he made it.
So Will Nuttall from the inside the front row of the grid, or the middle of the front row, in the number 10 Cooper Climax, is going to take victory in the low line. Right behind him, Nick Padmore, who led until the last lap in the Lotus 16. So that's your 1-2, and the battle for 3rd. Rod Jolly in 3rd in Cooper number 2. Right behind him, Tony Wood in the upright Tech Met, which looks about twice the height, twice the weight.
Going in.
And the Tech Met Maserati, has he got enough on the run to the line? He doesn't. Rod Jolly recovers. He'll be 3rd. Tony Wood 4th. Tom Dark in 5th. And the BRM in 6th position. That's Ben Mitchell. That was a proper sort out. Although Tom Dark now shown as 7th place behind car number 30.
Yeah.
Now,
Big for an out of position start, I would think.
Yeah, the exclamation mark in Rob Huff's case in the St Mary's Trophy race meant an inherent penalty.
Remember, it didn't get away, and 28 has had a spin on the last lap. That's Graham Edelman with his X-Works Maserati.
Sitting just a little low at the rear or not? Sure, no, well, he's gone around, I think maybe just touching the grass.
Never seen a 250F used as an auto test car before. That's quite impressive.
Do you know what? Goodwood Revival brings all sorts of new things to you, doesn't it?
I would think Tom Dark being shown there, he's been given, by the looks of things, maybe lumped with a 10-second penalty or something like that.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Anyway, victory for the low-line Cooper Climax of Will Nuttall from the middle of the front row of the grid. And that would have been definitely a tripartite battle if poleman Sam Wilson's Lotus hadn't gone clang on the run down to the first corner.
So it's going to be Nuttall from Padmore, Jolly from Wood, Mitchell from Bronson. That's the top 6. Dark, if he finished just behind Rod Jolly, as he did by about half a second, that shows with that 10-second penalty. Yeah, that has been included. And he broke on the start line, didn't get away, and then he whittled through into his what should have been his correct position on the grid for the restart. He should have gone from the back.
Yeah. However, start in your correct grid position, argue about it later. And it gave us some great battling as well further back in the battle for 3rd place. But there are your top 2, and they were a long way clear of anybody else. The gap from 1st to 2nd, 14 hundredths of a second. The gap from 2nd to 3rd, 22.2 seconds. So the battle for 3rd position that raged definitely didn't help them catch our breakaway duo.
So we've seen outstanding Formula Junior action. Chichester Cup, the Richmond and Gordon has brought us into Formula One era, and lots of respect out there on the grid.
Well, lots of respect, and they just get out of just beaming with the delight of a close race.
Will Nuttall's overalls, the most garish you've ever seen climbing out of a Cooper.
Well, yes, exactly. Almost, I think, of anybody in the entire revival. It looks like he should be a modern touring
Tony
car.
Wood has arrived on the
well, Rod Jolly hasn't
on the
come
podium
through
as well.
So, yeah, Tony Wood's come through. Now, our timing screen does show Rod Jolly as third. Maybe Bruce Jones can sort the wheat from the chaff down on the finish line.
Thoroughly entertaining Richmond and Gordon Trophy, and the cigar and the winner's garland to Will Nuttall. What a fantastic battle. Cooper versus Lotus in period, but today it was your Cooper that came out on top after a fine tussle with Nick Padmore.
Yeah, very clean and fair, and it's a bit of a shame that he missed a gear on the second to last lap, but it's a shame that it didn't last a bit longer, and obviously we hope that Charles is all right, who went off earlier. So, no, it's a bit of a shame it's shortened, but we had a great race while we were at it.
Obviously, it seems there must have been a fair bit of oil down through St Mary's, a lot of cars spinning behind you. But what was it like when you hit it at racing speed again on the restart?
We'd had enough time to look at it, to be honest, before we got there. It was worse the lap where he did get by me, and I just hit it and he cut down the outside and then cut back on Levant.
Well, these cars look fantastic when moving around on the circuit. Congratulations on victory. Nick Padmore, one just missed gear change there, but it was a great tussle you had.
Oh, it's brilliant. You know, me and this car, we have a love-hate relationship. The gearbox is always a problem. So, I missed a gear and it just didn't go in. Then it jumped out, then went back in, and that was enough. But a big thank you to Max for allowing me to drive the car, and great to race against this guy, because it was so clean through Lavant, side by side, and he gave me room, and what a great experience. I loved it.
Exactly so, a masterclass. Congratulations on second place. And the driver who probably had to fight hardest, there was a four-way battle for third, and Tony Wood in the Tech Mech, you came through at the end.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I did, but just happy to be on the podium again. It's brilliant.
Now, I've just mentioned we had the safety car period while the oil was cleaned up and a few cars that had spun. When you're in the heat of battle, how much space have you got that you can now while the driver's near you? Because you're going to be moving around on that oil.
I have to say that I had a moment, I came through the oil before the safety car. I think it was Tom Dark, literally had a tank slapper one way, tank slapper the other way. And I'm thinking, he's going to spin, where am I going to go? We managed to hold it, and I went round him, so it was all fine in the end.
And you're here at the end. So well done, Tony Wood, the third finisher in the Richmond and Gordon Trophy.
Yeah, so the results of the Richmond and Gordon Trophy. First, Will Nuttall in the Cooper T53. Second, we saw a great race with Nick Padmore in the Lotus. Not sure what happened to Rod Jolly, but Tony Wood on the podium in third place in the Tech Mech. Ben Mitchell, great storming race in the BRM. And lovely to see the scarab of Julian Bronson up in sixth. Tom Dark made up his place on the grid and finished up seventh. That glorious Tony Best Dino in 8th place. So that's the top 8. 9th, Manuel Etelaba in the T51, Maciej Seletsky in the T45, 10th, Charles Gillett in the Cooper Climax T43, 11th, Paul Griffin, 12th in T51, Nick Haluza in the lovely Maserati 250F, 13th, 14th, Klaus Lehr in another 250F, and the third 250F Convoy was the third one of Joseph Otto Rettenmeier, 16th, Marshall Bailey in the rare JBW Maserati. Richard Wilson, 17th, Cooper Climax T51, Eddie McGuire, great fight up in the Cooper Bristol Mark 1, replacing his BRM. 19th, Ed Williams in the 250F. What happened to Nick Adams in the Ferguson Climax, we don't know. He was fighting up in 4th or 5th place and then dropped down the field, finished 20th. 21st, Graham Edelman in the 250F. 22nd, Charles McCabe in the BRM Type 25. The key climax in the hands of Nigel Batchelor came 23rd. Tanya Pilkington, nice run to 24th in the T43 Cooper Climax. Spike Milligan in the Connaught. He was 2 laps behind, but at least he made the start. Adam Lindemann had to stop into the pits. We saw the Weber carburetors and new plugs being put on, but he got into 26th, finished the race. Jochen Volk had a lurid spin, but no damage, and finished the race 5 laps behind in the Lotus. And Robbers Lamplow, Type 25. Last of all, Sam Wilson, Lotus Climax.
Cars on the grid for the Richmond and Gordon trophies, highlighting the changeover between the front-engine Grand Prix era of the 50s and the future, the rear-engine cars that would take Formula One through into the new century. Problems for Spike Milligan's Connaught before the start. Problems for poleman Sam Wilson, got away quickly, but then his Lotus broke on the run down to the first corner. He was out of action, and that left the front engine rear end revolution to continue without him. Will Nuttall and Nick Padmore from the front row of the grid were joined by the front engine Lotus of Joachim Volk. He dropped out of 3rd place with a lurid spin. Took a while to recover from the grass. There was oil down, and in the end that would claim Robbs Lamplow in his BRM P25. He had a heavy accident as most of the others escaped without injury. After a brief safety car period, the action resumed. Will Nuttall and Nick Padmore running away out front, and then we had a 4-wheel drive IndyCar engined, front-engined, rear-engined squabble between all sorts of cars. The Scarab, the Tech-Mech, Coopers, and also the BRM, all dicing for 3rd place. The Tech-Mech, the high upright red Italian machine, almost escaped, but in the end it was caught, particularly by Rod Jolly, who'd not got away quickly in his Cooper Climax, had to fight his way back up the order. Out front, 26 Nick Padmore led until the final lap. Will Nuttall having a big lunge down the inside to go in front. And then in traffic, Rod Jolly getting around the Tech-Mech. Tom Dark, who started out of position, finishing well up the order, but he would be penalised. Will Nuttall firing the Cooper out of the final corner to take victory in the low line at Type 43 from Nick Padmore in 2nd, Rod Jolly in 3rd.
They are starting from the exit of the chicane. They've then got to come up the home straight, navigate their way through a chicane that has been placed in the middle of the home straight, and then actually get to the finish line. They are ready and waiting. They're going to be ready. Somebody's made a bit of an early start, and they're underway.
Away they go then. Off to the cars they go. Leap in. The pedals are set in a position that enables them to get some immediate thrust in. Did Harry Dark get away? Well, we'll be looking for the number 19 car.
I think he's up to 2nd.
He's up to 2nd already, number 19, Harry Dart. But who was it away in the lead? The car looked like from pole position. It's very, very difficult to see. It looks like the Bain. Yes, Harry in the red car. Harry Dark in 2nd place. Is that Winnie Bain in the lead? Let's have a look. The number 53 car it is. It's Winnie Bain. Winnie Bain then. Ian Bain's daughter. Winnie Bain in the lead. Past they go. Past our commentary point is neck and neck. Harry Dark peddling his little legs out. And Winnie Bain is alongside. She's absolutely going for it, but Harry Dark seems to have the advantage. It's going to be nip and tuck here. Winnie Bain, Ian Bain's daughter, peddling, but look at the concentration with this young man. But Winnie's coming back. Winnie's coming back at him. Harry Dark peddling hard. He's been a winner here before. 3rd place yesterday. Over the line he goes. Harry Dark then, the number 19 car, takes the win. Winnie Bain, though, magnificent, leading, looking for the 3rd car to come over the line, and it is the number 30 car, which is Lachlan Milne. Lachlan Milne brings it home 3rd. So what a great effort for Winnie Bain. Toby, that was magnificent.
It was. What a run. Still huge phalanx of cars racing to the finish line. going quickly as they can. A couple of drivers maybe a little bit too tall and struggling to move their knees underneath the bulkhead, but the winner's trophy being given to Harry Dark, and most importantly, Barry, a bar of chocolate.
Bar of chocolate. You know, I went down there and did some chatting and a bit of homework, and I was told that Harry Dark has perfected the control of that car to such an extent that on his little practice ground he can do handbrake turns. Now, he must get up to some speed, do his handbrake turns, and some of the back markers still having a bit of a laugh down there.
I think the stewards are going to have a word about weaving whilst on the racing line about that one. The driver at the back, I think he's the one who's struggling. His legs are maybe a little bit too long there.
The lights are on.
The lights are on. Yeah, just to warn.
But there's no one at home.
Just to warn people that he is coming through. But what a great result for Harry Dark. Bruce Jones is down there.
If there was ever a race to put a smile in your face, ladies and gentlemen, you must agree it's the Setrington Cup. It's a cup that appears to belong to Harry Dark 2 years in a row. I won't ask you the secret, everyone else will try and copy it, but fantastic performance. You had to work really hard to get past Winnie Bain.
Yeah, it was quite hard, but I did it, and I was hoping for it. I could win, and I did.
No car problems at all worked beautifully for you in the cockpit?
Yes.
Now, one of the key things is getting across to your car quickly at the start, when I call it the J40, and jumping in without knocking your knees and getting your feet straight onto the pedals. Have you practiced a lot so you can master that technique?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Well, it's a good lesson for life. Practice makes perfect. And if you win, you get a trophy, a garland, and a bar of chocolate as well. 2 years in a row. Well done to Harry Dark. And I think a big round of applause for all of the first three. In fact, for every competitor. But for Winnie Bain, I know there's competitive blood in your veins. You pushed so hard. You must have made your family very proud indeed.
Yeah.
But we had Harry coming up behind you. You were the first two through the chicane. Had no one else tucked in behind. But you nearly came back right at the finish.
Yeah, I know. It was like really close as well.
Anyhow, you enjoy. Are you going to be young enough to be back again and do it next year, or are you going to be ruled out for being too old?
I'm ruled out for being too old.
Have to pass the baton on to the younger ones. Thank you very much. Well done to Winnie Bain and the driver in the magnificent Ecurie Ecosse blue, third place to Lachlan Milne. How much fun was that?
Fun.
Now, it's a tricky race. From the outside, people go, all you have to do is get in and pedal. But you've got to steer, you've got to be accurate, go through the chicane. So it's really very tricky.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be fourth. If I didn't get past that green one, I wouldn't have got third.
Now, when you get to the end of the race, how tired are you? You have to really, it's like doing the 100-metre sprint on sports day at school.
I was quite tired, but yesterday I wasn't really.
Well, I'm sure that 6 months of training you've been doing coming into the event has come to a great result. So congratulations, not just for third place, but also to the family for the livery on this magnificent Ecurie Ecosse blue car. Well done, young man.
Thank you.
Congratulations to our winners in the Setrington Cup. It was Harry Dark who won by 1.5 seconds ahead of Winnie Bain in her last drive in the Austin J40 here at the Goodwood Revival. Third position going to Lachlan Milne there, just ahead of Callan McWhirter. Thomas Gerrish, Lucy Chambers, Jack Porter and Arto Rabagliati making it the top 8 there. Just inside the top 10, Carter Simpson, Aisling Lessiter, Fred Bourne, Joe Stanley, Lila Clements, Oliver Mitchell, Samuel Lewis ahead of Atlanta Jean Lewis, Harrison Bruce, James Blakely Edwards, Megan Richards, Charlie Burnett, Freddie Owen, Oliver Law, Senna O'Connor, Phoebe Wilding. There's some names in here, some surnames in here that you'll recognise. Maybe some drivers' names for the future of Goodwood Motorsport going forward. Will they be going to the international scene once they've maybe progressed through karting? Well, after the collecting area was cleared, the tension was rising as the cars were pushed down to the grid. The tyre temperatures were just about optimum, and then they were underway. The Le Mans start as they sprinted to their machines. Harry Dark. He was on the left-hand side of the racetrack. There he is in the red car. Look at the concentration on his face. His feet were pumping away, 10 to the dozen. There's not a rev limit as to how fast those pistons could go, but he was really